They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly, yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies, all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Swatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far to myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. Ooh, yeah. Why they wanna bring me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down, yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow it down. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I see the flashing lights, make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah, yeah. This the highlights for the few. You could have it all, no need to choose. First, let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top.
Salute, ATP. What's good, my peoples? What's good? What's really good? What's really good? Shout out Looney, JJ, CJ, Esperon in the building. Everybody else, I know y'all creeping in. Just remember to hit the likes on your way in. Got boxing to talk about tonight. We talk about boxing every night, right? At the end of the day, salute to my co-host, Ray Davis in the building. Salute, Ray Davis. What's goody with you?
Salute to big bro Claymore Rain in the building. We know what it is, Clay.
We outside.
Like we do, yeah, like we do every day, man.
No doubt. J Cash the Money Man. What it do, my guy? What it do, my guy? You know what I'm saying? We outside tonight, man. We talking about it. Things is moving around as they normally are. We try to stay on top of it with you guys. Make sure we try to stay ahead of the game. But, you know, we're not trying to push no false narratives or anything like that. But, you know, every now and then, our finger might fall on the pulse of the game. We might call something out before it happens. We might call it out as it's happening. You know, every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we could be off a little bit too. But it does seem like as of late, we haven't been off. It looks like we've been right on point. You know what I mean? Got a lot to talk about today. Big news. You guys remember yesterday we brought it up. Looks like Devin Haney's back in the gym, back getting ready. Him and Turkey Al-Sheikh seem to be in communications, and maybe, possibly, there's some chances that we might be looking at Devin Haney on a certain December 21st undercard. Maybe one of the biggest rematches of the year in Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. To see Devin Haney on that undercard, one can only imagine what kind of fighter we're looking at him getting into the ring with, being that the rumor is it's going to be on 147-pound showdown with Devin Haney. And then we got Jaron Ennis, who I believe, listen, man, I don't know if these guys are watching the channel, if they're watching the content, but all of a sudden, a lot of content creation spaces are starting to pick up and get on board with what we know is the one way for Jaron Ennis to shake up the world, Craig. And that's him going to 154 pounds to compete with the likes of, you can name them all through 154, from down there with Charles Conway, all the way up to the likes of a Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora, Tim Tszyu. All kinds of opportunities there, and it seems like the space is catching up, and it seems like Turkey Al-Sheikh might be watching what we're putting in out here, because he seems to be starting to put a little pressure on Jaron and said, listen, Jaron, I know you got your aspirations. I know what you're trying to do, but man, 154 seems like the most logical, practical thing we can do, especially now that Terrence Crawford has vacated belts in the division. It's going to be barbecue or mildew times. Time to shit on the pot or get off the pot, because if you can't make these fights happen, why are you sitting there at 147 pounds? Why are you not putting yourself in the best position possible and taking advantage of this new relationship you built with His Excellency, Turkey Al-Sheikh? We're going to talk about that as well tonight. Also in the news, we have a big card coming up. A big card. I mean, I think it's going to be a good card. Listen, when you look at this Christian and Billy card coming up this weekend, coming out of Canada, and him fighting Derevchenko, if you pay attention to either one of these fighters, you know that this fight has all the ingredients to be another barn burner. Fight of the year? Never know, man. Listen, Derevchenko gave Jaime Munguia all he could handle. A lot of people felt like he was on the road to making something happen in that fight. Jaime Munguia obviously able to, come up on the other side of that conversation with the win stoppage. But not stoppage actually. Was it a unanimous decision? I can't remember. I know he put him on his pockets for sure in that fight. But you got that on that same card. We've got the young bull and new prospect who's damn near, I don't know what fight they're going to wait to put him in contender status, but Abdullah Mason is going to be on this card. Will he steal the show? There's a good chance he might steal the show. The kid has been very consistent in the quality of fight that he's been putting out. On pace to be at 6-5s in this calendar year. And from what I understand, trying to see if he can squeeze one more in before the end of the year comes. Kid is super busy. What a talent. Top prospect in the game right now. We'll be looking for him to show out on that night, as well as other fights that are on there. We got the Russian Mike Tyson, Arslan Makhmedov. If you guys remember him fighting Ajit Kabiel about two Saudi Arabian boxing cards ago, where Ajit was able to stop him with a body shot. Same body shot he stopped Frank Sanchez with, right? But still, before that, the Russian Mike Tyson was considered one of the up-and-coming young fighters in the division. So we're going to see him on that card, and he gets a chance to, put another ignition behind his career again. Let everybody know he's not going anywhere. And then we got the young boy Jahi Tucker, who's going to be on that card as well, bringing that middleweight action. Jahi's been trying to stay busy as well. So we got all those things going on and then some. And we'll talk about everything in between. Tim Tszyu, officially, I believe he has a date of October 17th or 19th at this point, where he's going to be fighting on paper. He's already scheduled to fight Bakram Murtazaliyev or Murtazayev.
Word.
Right?
Yes,
so
sir.
We've got that getting put together. And there's also some rumors about Jaron Boots Ennis potentially giving a rematch to a Karen Kukadashian. And we'll talk about that because I'm not too excited about that. I don't think that aligns so much with what his camp has been saying, what Eddie Hearn's been saying. But we'll talk about what that means for him if he's bringing this rematch back to Philadelphia against his fighter, who a lot of people felt like he looked boring against. Really weren't impressed with the performance he put there. And we know that wasn't because of Boots. We know it was because when you have a fighter who's very skilled at moving around and is dead set on not getting hit or getting knocked out, it's pretty hard to chase that fighter down and make him do something. So one would question why put a fight like that together, but we'll talk about that as well, right? And we'll bring it full circle to Frank Martin talking about going up to 140. Putting a little tweet out there a few days ago, talking to Raul Venezuela, congratulating him on the success against Isaac Cruz, but saying he'd love to get in the ring with him. So is Frank Martin ready to go to 140 now? Is this what he's going to do? Remember, we spoke on it as that fight and that weight cut, even Tank highlighted that looks like that weight cut was tough for him. Looks like he was destined to move out the way. Is this next fight coming up going to be out the way? A lot of people were thinking that Keyshawn Davis was probably going to be in the conversation of fighting Frank Martin next. Does that mean Keyshawn is going to leave that alone and move on to the next opponent, being that he's at 135? Or is this a sign that maybe he might be going to 140 as well at some point? You never know. Him and his brother, brother from another mother, and Shakur Stevenson being in the same division, we've all questioned what that future looks like for either one of those fighters in that division. Safe to say Shakur Stevenson isn't going anywhere. Right now, he plans on doing the work at 135 unless he plans on going to 140. So many different things to talk about tonight. So many different things to talk about tonight. I don't even know where to start. Where should we start tonight, Ray? What do you think we should start?
I'm spinning the wheel. Hold on. Oh, look at that. Frank Martin.
You want to get on Frank?
Yeah, let's get that out the way. That's a quick and easy conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah, Frank Martin. Like I said, Frank Martin showing interest in fighting Robin as well, ready to move up to 140 pounds. How do you feel about that scenario? Does that make sense to you? You see some success in this future, or you see a lot of turbulence in the future?
Here's what I was surprised with. So I remember probably 2 months before the fight was announced, or a month before the fight was announced, we all knew he was fighting Tank Davis. It was already in rumors and speculation that he was. And I remember him saying, "Oh, I could easily make 154. I plan on leaving my career at 154." That was surprising to me for him to say that, because he was like, and I'll be moving to 140 soon. So he already had put this in the atmosphere for people that watched the show. I believe it was Queens of Boxing. Shout out to the Queens of Boxing in that interview. And by him putting it in the atmosphere like that means that, he wasn't staying there too long. He was just trying to get a belt and move up. So at the same time, I think that was already something he had on his mind, and he knew that was going to happen. Him moving up and challenging a Rayo Venezuela. It's a good fight. It can go either way. I can kind of see how this could be a matchup. Now, my question is, this would be like the third person that lost a fight and moved right into a title match, either moving up or fighting for another belt. So this is kind of like crazy that the best fighters, or the fighters that are in the divisions, are not getting the shots, and these guys are just moving up right into these fights, or vice, you know what I mean? Or the guys that are in the division are getting skipped over that are 1s, 2s, and some people that are just hot, more of a name, a brand. They brand themselves better, are getting to these shots. So it's a good example of politics in this situation and scenario. But at the same time, I like it. I think it'll be a great fight, and we'll see who Frank Martin really is. I think he has a chance of winning. I think it's a 50-50 fight as of now. And we can see how that goes.
No, I respect what you're saying, man. It does make a lot of sense for Frank Martin to decide to do that. I mean, that one cut was looking like it was finally about that time for him against Tank Davis. Him getting a title shot coming out off of a loss, a pretty devastating loss like that at 135 pounds, and potentially putting himself in position to get an opportunity to get another title shot. It seems like that is starting to become a very regular thing in the boxing space right now. So it doesn't shock me as much as, let's say, an Errol Spence who's looking also to get involved in a title shot with Sebastian Fundora. But the bigger question for me is going to always resonate with the strength, the power, all those things that held him at the top of the division at 135 for the time he was there. Is that going to translate into 140 pounds? Definitely going to be easier for him on the weight cut. A lot of competition there. Makes the division a little more interesting as well. I think at 140 pounds, adding a Frank Martin to the mix makes it an more interesting division that is already interesting. I could see him being lined up with a lot of fighters. I could see him with Gary Antoine Russell. I could see him against Subriel Matias, against a Liam Paro, against a Devin Haney if he were to stay at 140, or all those fights that Alberto Puello, or across the board, just fights that I could see Frank Martin in. And it just makes the division just that much more interesting. Some might say he's gained a little bit of notoriety after that Tank fight, that he's become sort of a household name, so he can be involved and be part of some pretty big fights at 140 pounds. We'd have to just see, right? Time will set it. But a great dancing partner at minimum, which makes for great fights to look forward to at 140 pounds. Shout out to Fon Santiago in the building. He said something interesting. He wanted to I guess we can partially segue into it, where he's asking us in the chat, what do we think about Xander Zayas fighting Jesus Ramos or an Erickson Lubin? Xander Zayas is really in that phase of his career where he's borderline prospect going into being contender, or maybe some people consider him a contender right now. I know that he's going to be on this up-and-coming card coming at September 27th. He'll be on that card. He'll be fighting, I believe, Damian Sosa or something like that. A tune-up, build-up fight, build him up kind of fight. And I think that's where he's at in his career right now. What do I see, and how competitive do I see him against a Jesus Ramos or Erickson Lubin? I don't know, man. It might be a little bit more that the kid can bite off. Maybe it's not time for him. I'm not too sure. He's a very talented fighter, without a doubt. Those guys are kind of like well established in that 154-pound weight class division. Jesus Ramos and Erickson Lubin fought each other when Erickson Lubin walked away with a close decision, but walked away with a decision. He was boxing all night long. Xander Zayas is the future of the division. If he wants to get in the conversation of getting into some contention, I think that fight against either one of those guys is definitely key to that happening. But is he moving too fast, Ray? Do you think him going up in there against a Jesus Ramos or Erickson Lubin is moving a little too fast for him, or you think it's about that time for Xander Zayas?
I think Xander Zayas can pull it off. I think sometimes you have to. I'd rather the guy test himself while he's on the rise. Pause, because I know freaking flyer. While he's on the rise in the division and looking to score some big fights and some good names. Those are great names to challenge. Win, lose, or draw, you know where you are. It's a young career, so it's not like he's ruining his career by taking a loss to somebody that's a little bit better or more well seasoned than him. So it comes back to him to just working on the things he needs to work on, and it may make him a better champion at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. So I guess to answer the question even simpler, I would think it's a big step for him, a big challenge for him, but it might be a challenge that he's ready to handle. You know what I mean? He's a talented kid. He's being developed by Top Rank pretty well, in my opinion, keeping him busy, but also protecting him from taking too big a risk too early. It might be about that time for Xander Zayas to start considering those things, you know. But good question, Fonz. I appreciate you putting that in the chat, contributing to tonight's show with some with a good question. But listen, man, speaking of prospects who are coming in the game, making their own, this prospect is pretty much the consensus is across the board, across the whole boxing space. That Abdullah Mason is the hottest, toughest, most talented, exciting fighter in the game right now, as far as a prospect is concerned. And he's going to be on pace to be at 6 fights this year as he's fighting on this card coming up this weekend on the Christian and Billy card. People was wondering, is he going to steal the show? Seems like he's been making a habit of doing that as of late. Like, we're always talking about Abdullah Mason, as we should. And that's, you know, shout out to his team, shout out to Top Rank for properly developing this guy into the future of 135 pounds. Can you see him stealing the show this weekend against this fighter and against Mike Ohan Jr.? Yeah,
it looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting fight. The guys, he has 19 wins, 2 losses. It looks like he had 1 loss by knockout, but he seems to have like 9 knockouts with those 19 wins. So he's about 50% on a knockout ratio, about 46%, which is okay. You know, but it does show that he's a good boxer. Abdullah Mason being 14-0. He strikes fast. He strikes quick. This is a great challenge. It is, I believe it's going to be an 8-round fight, and it's going to show us where he's going to be in the rankings. Because I think this, we've been acknowledging the fact that when these guys are fighting American fighters, we're starting to see them get them. You know, they're dealing with them better because we're used to the styles. But when they start fighting these guys from out of country, whether it be Canada, whether it be over in Europe, Australia, even some lower to Mexico, south of the border, like South American fighters, we've been seeing American fighters and Mexican fighters struggle because they're not used to the styles and the basics are really are hampering. This may be interesting. We don't know how it's gonna end up, but I do believe Mason walks away with the win. But we may see him up for the this gentleman, Michael Ohan, up for the challenge, and he may make it interesting for us. Hopefully, it doesn't go to distance, but if it does, it'll be well worth the fight, and it could steal the moment in the evening.
100%. And if it goes in the distance, maybe, I think Abdullah Mason was looking for somebody who can give him the rounds in his last fight, and he kind of complained a little bit about, him thinking that opponent he was fighting a couple months ago was going to kind of bring that energy and give him those rounds he's looking for. But, listen, if they're not supposed to be in the ring with him, he's never going to play with his food. That's one thing about Abdullah Mason. If you can't make it, you're not going to make it with him, right? But maybe this Michael Hand is able to test him in that way, maybe make more of a statement for Abdullah Mason to become a contender, maybe after this fight, maybe the fight afterwards. When you see somebody getting paced out like that and kept active like that, you got to think that they got big big plans for him. Shout out to we got 2 new guys in the ring. I don't know if not in the ring, in the chat, that I haven't seen before. Shout out to Supporter of Boxing. How you doing, family? Hope everything is well with you. Shout out to Blaze as well, and of course, shout out to D-Town Funk. Salute, King. Like they said, Abdullah Mason is the future pound for pound champ. He's almost there now. People are seeing him against a Tank Davis. They're seeing him against a Shakur Stevenson. They're seeing him against a Floyd Schofield or a Keyshawn Davis. All the top names that are in the division, everybody's already envisioned Abdullah Mason being in the ring with them, and I think the consensus is most of those people he would beat. That's how they feel about it. But like we talked about yesterday, can't crown somebody a king until they've actually put the work in and earned it. Abdullah Mason's in the space of trying to earn that and still operating on a prospect status, looking to cross over into being a actual contender, and then we could see maybe him getting pointed in the direction as one of these titles, maybe early next year, middle, early, first, second quarter next year, maybe seeing him in some either fighting for a mandatory spot, or maybe even challenging for an actual belt next year. But we'll be keeping our eye on him. That card is that much more interesting with him on there. And of course, at the top of the card, we don't need to hold no shots back there. Christian and Billy right now, 168 pounds, looking to continue his what's the word I'm looking for? His track record, that he has for stopping people and making himself a top name at 168. A lot of people were looking at Christian and Billy to be actually a legitimate threat to Canelo Alvarez, somebody who could dethrone Canelo Alvarez, meaning that Canelo wasn't going to fight the mandatories in a David Morrell or David Benavidez. Christian and Billy is somewhere on that list. I don't know where you have him on that list. Obviously, Jaime Munguia is still on that 168-pound list as well. But where would you put Christian and Billy at this point, going into this fight with a Derevyanchenko, who we saw him against Jaime Munguia as well. Very competitive fight. Did take that loss. It does. I think one could also argue, by the way, that Derevyanchenko is kind of known for not being able to close the show. He's had 4 title shots already since he's been at 168, and he just keeps falling short every single one of them. But Christian and Billy looks to put him on paper as one of the guys that he dismantled and put away. What do you think about Christian and Billy in the 168-pound division conversation? Where would you place him?
Right behind Jaime Munguia. I think Jaime Munguia is number 1. I think there's definitely a consensus of Christian and Billy being number 2. I do believe that if Jaime Munguia gets another shot at Canelo, he defeats him. I do believe that and Billy probably stops him, making goods on the fight for them two. And Billy has shown great promise since I've started watching him and showing that he does have the power. I do think he gets winded. That's why I have him at number 2. I think he tires himself out because he's a heavier fighter from the shoulders up. So he's carrying a lot of that weight and he's swinging really like powerful shots. So I think that makes him tired, but he is known to have some endurance in the ring and shut down some of these fighters as we've seen in the past. I do believe Billy is a force to be reckoned with at 168, and he should be in line for that WBC interim belt that was just dropped by our brother David Benavidez. So that puts him in the spot for that because he is the Continental America's champion of the WBC. Mm-hmm. So that's going to put him in line, and he's ranked number 1, I believe, at the WBC level.
Yeah, he looks like, and Christian Billy looks like he's just about ready to challenge for a title. He's been doing pretty well for the past year, staying active and at the same time keeping the fights exciting. It seems like it's about his time to get in some title contention. Some people might argue that they would have rather had seen him going against Canelo Alvarez than Edgar Berlanga. And just as far as stylistically and fights being closer to a 50-50, which I don't think it would be 50-50 with him and Canelo, but it would definitely. I think some people would argue that he has a better chance of beating Canelo than Berlanga. I don't know if I'm there yet with Berlanga because he is starting to grow on me a little bit more. Pause. You know what I mean? I'm starting to see his passion and his hunger and you know what I'm saying, how much he wants this. And that holds weight. You know what I mean? When somebody really wants something that bad, it could hold weight in the fight. So we'll see what he does. But Christian and Billy definitely online this weekend, headlining his own card in Top Rank to fight against Derevyanchenko, and on that same card, of course, Abdullah Mason on that card. And shout out to Supporter of Boxing, who says Osley Iglesias. is at 168. And he thinks that he's better than Billy. He's fighting center at Jabeko on the undercard. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see those fights come together, though, for sure. And looking at Jahi Tucker as well in there. Looking at him to do something. Salute to Jonathan 97 in the building. Salute King. Salute Jay Cash, the man.
And while we're at 168, I don't know if anybody heard, Chris Eubanks has been calling out Canelo and said he wants that fight next, even if it's Cinco de Mayo weekend. So I don't know if you got the news of that. That was actually out there today.
No, I didn't see that. But yeah, man, listen, get it popping, man. It'd be good to see 168 kind of catch up and start moving a little bit and start to become active. Hoping that Canelo Alvarez is, close to the end of his reign up there, and let's go, let go of some of those belts, or even a sanctioned bodies. Hopefully, might want to get in the conversation and start threatening him with vacating the belts, or having the belts stripped for him, or him honoring the mandatories that are going to be there.
97.
You know what I mean?
Detroit. You know what I mean? Salute freaking flyer.
No doubt. So big news, as we spoke a little bit earlier today, and you guys have been hearing about Devin Haney being back in the gym. What do you think about that, first of all? Devin Haney back at it. Seems like he's getting back in the conversation. Turkey more than excited to welcome back his brother into the ring. Wants to see him out there in December on that Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk rematch card. What do you think about that?
Is that the card we're looking for? There's about 3. I think they got like 3 cards coming up. So any one of those 3 cards could be the one they announced Devin on. It could be the December card, but I think they're going to do the heavyweight battle again, maybe in December, like they did last year. I think that was a great showing for the end of December. Now, if it's an early show, we might see Devin. I think Devin coming back is good for the sport. The sports has been dead without what they call him, Terrell Bill, or whatever they call him, but Mr. Bill Haney himself not being out there breaking records with the mouthpiece of the world, Pauls, telling everybody what his son's going to do and how is he going to do it. So we all know that without Bill, the boxing space seems dead. We're talking about fights that are outside of the league of where Devin once reigned as the undisputed champion, where he beat Regis and took a loss, and now maybe possibly moving to 147, which is unclear to us. So that being said, putting Devin back in the mix actually is going to spark some conversations and things of that nature. And I think he even he hinted to that too, saying boxing's been going dead for 3 months without him being here, which is funny because he knows that people are talking about him, whether it be negative or positive. And him coming back is going to bring some noise back. So that actually goes to the point of him saying, was he the face of boxing or not? Because they talked about him when he was in the sport, and when he took a hiatus, it's been dead in the sport. You know what I mean? They've been talking about everything but Devin and other fighters. The fighters that they said were the faces besides Tank and Canelo have not been getting much news.
Yeah. And listen, we spoke about this before as well, as far as Jaron Ennis, his presence, what it means at 147 and what it would mean at 154. And this is one of those moves where if Jaron Ennis can go ahead and make a move to 154, we can see this division really get really competitive. I can see Devin Haney in the 147-pound division, making some pretty big fights, and Jaron Ennis, moving out the way and just removing the big bad lion that's in that division, put him at 154, where his talents will be put to great use, and we could watch 147 get active. You have Teofimo Lopez talking about getting active in that division, and obviously you have the champions that are already there who seem to be ready to get active as well. A lot of good matchups. I think Devin Haney coming back and going to 147, great idea. I'm very interested to see who he's going to fight as well. I think yesterday we spoke a little bit about Mario Barros being one of those fighters that we might anticipate him seeing him against. Well, who else do you think at 147 would be a great fight? Keeping in mind, in my opinion, it has to be a tune-up fight. I think Devin should be looking for some sort of tune-up, get his energy and get his relationship and cadence back with that ring. But who do you see him going with?
I could see him taking on Alex Rocha. Somebody that's known. I don't see him stepping in the ring with Blair Cobbs. I think Blair Cobbs has a little bit too much action for him. I think he needs to adjust to the division first. Connor Benn, the gentleman that what's his name just beat Brian Norman, Santioni. Santiago Dominguez. I can see him stepping in with the champions. He can step in with Mario Barrios, Danny Onis, even a Brian Norman even could be a possibility. I don't think he's up to the task for boots yet. I think he should get something, again, get another fight under his belt. And let it be known, challenge himself and go after David Evanesian. We know he's a pressure fighter. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to get hit. He applies a lot of pressure and punches. Why, you know what I mean? So that'd be a good challenge, being that he faced two former champions of the division, and even though he broke his jaw, that'd be a nice fight for him to get into, to see how he measures against the rest of the field. Oh, one more. If Teofimo moves up, that's a great fight.
100%. 100%, man. Interesting seeing what Devin's doing. You know, the space is already going crazy. I've heard some people saying that this is career suicide for him to go to 147. You know, people are discounting his power and his ability to give anybody any motivation to not just run in on him. You know, they just don't think that Devin's built for that. And 147 has a lot more punches in there than 140 does, obviously. So I don't know, man. I think it's a great idea. Let's see what he does. Devin Haney coming back into the gym. Let's see what I'm also interested in seeing what kind of adjustments he's made in his in the camp, right? I'm interested in seeing what has he put some different trainers in there? Is he affiliating himself with some different trainers? And what's Bill's position going to be with Devin Haney right now? What has he been working on? You know, this little hiatus that he took, what has he been doing? Has he really been sitting on the beach, sipping on virgin mojitos and kicking it with his family? Or he's actually been working on something that he plans on showcasing in his return, right? So it'll be interesting to see Devin Haney come back. Let's see what it is, because at the end of the day, it hasn't been put into stone. And, you know, we haven't heard any contracts or anything official being done, but it looks like even Bill Haney's on the campaign. I've seen him on the What It Is with Cameron and Mace. He seems like he has a show over there. I've seen him doing some interviews. I think he just got an award in New York for Manager of the Year. So all of a sudden they're resurfacing, getting kind of back into the conversation and being in front of social media and promoting themselves. Usually that lines up with some sort of something getting ready to be announced. You know what I mean? Let's start getting the name in the algorithm. Let's start becoming important again in the boxing space. Have all these creators, content creators alike speaking on us, so that when we drop this bomb, it can fall on a lot of people who are waiting to hear what we're going to do. So more than likely, Devin Haney is on his way back in. It looks like him and Turkey in communications, and we should be looking forward to see him later on towards the end of this year or early first quarter of next year to see him compete on a high level again. Be very good to see him do that. A lot of people also thinking that he should be getting ready for a Ryan Garcia sequel. And we'll see how that works out, because it does sound like at some point those guys are lined up to, you know, be on a crash course to give another huge fight, and this time hopefully keeping Ryan Garcia on the up and up, right? On the up and up, and making an even playing field and seeing how they look at 147. You know what I'm saying?
So what I noticed too, Clay, it looks like he's been keeping his weight down and staying around the 160-ish area. So when he makes his weight cuts, he's not doing a significant cut to make a 147 division. Possibly he could be less than that. He could be close to the 154 division. Walk around now, where he can even possibly make 140 without killing himself. We have to see as he makes a decision on what he's going to do and how he's going to come back to boxing. So if he's walking around and he's trying to stay close to his weight, we might see a different Devin and a lot more strength coming out of him instead of pillow fisted. We talk about brick hands. That's what his dad calls it, right?
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? We got to see what he's going to do. Definitely interested in seeing him. We'll keep a close eye on it. I'm sure the community is going to keep a close eye on Devin and see what he does, who he returns against, and where's it going to be. Seeing him on the undercard, do you see him co-headline? You think with Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, maybe a co-headliner?
Oh, if he's on that card, he's going to make a bag. So that's that. Yeah, I can see him co-headlining that. But it's going to have to be somebody that's of significance to be on that ring against him. To make that happen, right. Most likely a champion of one of the belts. We'll see what happens. It's hard to dictate, and I even heard that he might come back now, like as soon as possible, and try to fight Ryan in December. Ryan's trying to get a fight with him in December to fight outside the country for a rematch. Exhibition, no win, lose, or draw. Nobody loses gets a loss. Somebody gets a win. just becomes an exhibition match and full of drug testing every single day. He'll drug test. So we know how that went last time. But hey, let's make it happen either way.
No doubt, no doubt. Interested in seeing what Devin looks like coming back. Once again, let's see what he does. But I think the big conversation that I want to get involved with, I mean, we've covered a lot of topics real quick, just kind of been in and out, touching these topics up. But the big conversation right now seems to be Jaron Ennis right now. That's the conversation. Everybody's talking about it. Ever since this news came out about 147 pounds opening up right now, being that Terrence went ahead and gave up that that WBO title. And from what I understand, he hasn't quite done the same thing for the WBA title yet. He hasn't quite released it yet, but we are expecting him to vacate it. So Stanionis isn't a full WBA champion as of right now. But we know that he's a champion in recess for the WBC. So Mario Barris has been full champion, and then now putting Brian Norman in position to where he's becoming a full champion now. I know I was trying to see immediately, if anybody's watching 147 pounds, first thing's going to come to your mind is, okay, is Jaron going to unify? Because I think we just want him to unify and become undisputed as quickly as possible so that he can get into this conversation at 154, right? Brian Norman saying that he's more than available. He's interested in having unifying fights as well. Him and his father are ready to take on challenges. We saw conversations between him and Jalil Hackett, who is also trying to put himself in position and get a title shot. But we saw Jaron Boots Ennis struggle to make fights happen at 147 when he was just an interim champion. We know that the risk reward ratio for him was too much for all the fighters. Nobody wants to get involved. Now he has the backing of Turki Al-Sheikh, right? And he's a full champion in the IBF. He has that IBF belt. Do you think he stays? Should he stay at this point, push it and see if he can go ahead and become undisputed or at least unify some of those belts? Or should he go ahead and just go ahead and take a chance, bet on himself, go to 154 and see what's there for him? Because at the end of the day, Bozy Ennis says he wanted to go ahead and get all those belts in that division. But once again, it takes two to make a party. It takes two to dance. It takes two to fight. You know what I mean? And it does seem like the fighters in that division are very hesitant in getting in the ring with Boots Ennis.
So I think he does stay. I think he should stay. The problem I have is we did call this, and I told you once those belts get dropped, now you got to scatter around and go get them. Right. Opportunity was there at one point, and for him to, if he's going to scatter around and go get the belts, I say just grab one belt, maybe two. If you can get it, if your promoter can make it happen, move up in the next week. And then start trying to make your undisputed campaign there, because you'll have more time to do it, and it's better for you instead of hurting yourself as you start getting older and your weight cuts start becoming harder. He is an IBF champion. By him getting another belt, that kind of helps too, because then his hydration for the next day doesn't have to be a 10-pound difference, and that also helps him. But I just don't want to see him going down the roads of some of the other people that have fought and stayed in divisions too long. And then they end up losing or having suffered difficulties moving up in weight or staying in the division and fighting the wrong fight with the wrong fighter and getting pieced up. So, go grab a belt. If you can get another belt from somebody, go do it. More power to you. Then make a move. You know what I mean? You can unify and then move up and make it happen at 154 and then possibly 160, 168. You said you can make 168 eventually. So, and that's as high as you goes. So let's see it happen.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can see it going either way. I will tell you this, though. First of all, let me go ahead and read this. Casanova Pugilist, salute, King. Good to have you on the channel tonight. It says Boots don't need any of them at 154. He can be great without him. I'd like to see him rematch Karajukian. We can talk about that as well. And they fight my Coursera instructor next. I'm not sure what that is. Like I said, he doesn't need them. No, he doesn't need them. Is it an opportunity? 100%. 154 is an opportunity for Boots to shine and to do some work for his legacy and to get involved in some big money fights. I'm going to hold Bozy Ennis to what he said, wanting to get that division under wraps as quickly as possible so that they can move up to 154. That being said, as far as Kara Kadushian or rematch, whatever his name is, that long 3-4 syllable.
I can say it if you want me to say it, but I just try to help you out with the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know if he needs to do that. And those are the type of things that kind of have me like under the idea of like what's going on over there. What's the game plan? Because there's no redemption needed in that fight. Boots won that fight with a unanimous decision, and we saw Karen run around the ring and dance and do everything he could to not engage with Boots. Does Boots benefit really rematching this guy and giving this guy the credit as somebody who he should be rematching because he gave him this big challenge? I don't know. This guy didn't really give Boots a challenge, in my opinion. He gave him a challenge on cutting the ring off and finding him and chasing him down. I would think that the goal is to get him out of 147 as soon as possible and get him that undisputed. So for me, it's got to be go big or go home mentality with Jaron Boots Ennis. It's either you are chasing down being undisputed and you're putting yourself in some unification title fights, or you're considering moving to 154. Even Turkey Al-Sheikh, and what I understand, is very excited and wants to see Boots at 154. They want to help facilitate what he wants to get done as far as becoming an undisputed champion at 147. But at some point or another, like I said, it takes two. If they're not fighters jumping in there now with Turkey Al-Sheikh having his back, Turkey offering to help facilitate these fights, which means big money for these guys in that division. So that's legacy in the title, and that's money in Turkey Al-Sheikh. That's a combination to some great fights. If with all that stacked on Jaron Boots Ennis's shoulders, if that doesn't get him into some unification title fights, then I think he should take in consideration to go into 154 and not wasting time in a division that's looking to duck him before he even gets just looking to duck him before he gets his feet really wet. Let's see here. Sonny Augustine says, I'm not completely sold on Boots. He's a little too green, claim more. His defense a little suspect and a lack of focus at times. Yeah, but I think he comes from a good camp and he's cut from some good pedigree. As far as boxing is concerned, he just needs that right challenger. And that's usually what happens with a lot of these fighters is if they're not really being challenged and they don't have somebody really threatening in front of them inside the ring, then they tend to get lazy all of a sudden and take a lot of chances. So you see him get clipped with some shots, or you'll see him taking a lot more chances because he doesn't respect the opponent. I think once that changes, you'll see a way more focused and way more thorough Boots Ennis. You know what I mean? Let's see here. QT said there is no path to get undisputed at 147. I'm sorry, they're staying there to keep making big purses, fighting low comp. Let's be honest. Wow. Yeah, there's also that going around the area. Shout out to QT. Also in the conversations, they're saying that he doesn't have the ambition to go up to 154. I don't know how much legitimacy I'll give to that. I think it does make a little bit of sense. It's reasonable to kind of question his ambition because the greatness is at 154. I don't think any one particular fight at 147 makes him great. You know what I'm saying? The idea of becoming undisputed at 147 is a great look, but which fighter at 147 is Boots fighting against that we're favoring, or we know it's going to be a challenge for Boots Ennis? On top of that, he's a big 147 pounder. We all know that he has a big frame. He carries that 147 well, as far as doesn't seem like he's struggling to make it and everything like that. But ultimately, weight bully starts to come up. Is he weight bullying down there at 147? Is he just sitting down there to try to take advantage of fighters in that division to become undisputed? Easy work, easy money, right? What do you think about that, Ray?
Well, I'm gonna first by starting saying you're absolutely right, and I don't think that Boots should waste time, because wasting time down there is not going to do anything. But like I said, it's just going to build up on his career, and he's going to continue to hurt himself. If he does decide to go a different path or fight somebody, I was looking at some of the chats here, reading them. If he does decide to fight some of the people in the division, and he does get a direct opportunity to fight him, I like what Casanova Pugila said. Al Heyman has the other two fighters. Is he going to give Boots those fights, knowing that Boots he wanted to sign Boots and Boots with Eddie Hearn? Is he going to get the fight with Top Rank? Will Bob Arum be ready to let somebody take his champion's belt? So it's a lot of roadblocks in front of him, and I just see the same thing like you said with Earl Spence. I can see him just sitting there and just hold on to the division until he gets his shots or until he gets his time. The next thing you know, like I said, he's in the division too long, and the guy's 190 pounds walking around, and then he's got to come down to 147 and maintain that weight for 2 days. It becomes a problem where he can easily move up. And is he a weight bully? That's another question to be said. I think some of the other guys are walking around the division close to 170. So I mean, the 20-pound difference is a difference, but I don't think Boots is ballooning up that much where he's going to be totally out what do you call it? Out rehydrating these guys. I think they're all going to be rehydrating about the same. That's the good thing about the IBF. But once he grabs another title, that goes out the window. So, yeah, it's crazy. You're on point though.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to yeah, Roscoe. I see. We're gonna get to. I know Roscoe is gonna bring the fire. Casanova Pugilist saying PBC already trying to freeze out, but at 154. Why would Al keep help Boots become undisputed at 47 against his fighters Stanionis and Barrios? 100%. I think that that's a good argument right there. And Al was trying to sign Boots too, but he went with Eddie. He's not getting undisputed ever. I learned his lesson with that Errol Spence fight. Might as well go 154 and fight. But talk about it, Casanova. Yeah, man, getting that conversation. And shout out to the thumbnail, getting away part 2. You know what I mean? I think that's what it's all about, right? Getting away. A lot of these fighters have to get in the way. You see Frank Martin deciding to move to 140. Well, I'm going to get in that conversation, getting away, challenge Raul Venezuela, get me a title so I can get in the conversation of unifying and being one of those guys chasing down the big fights. Same thing with Boots Ennis. He has an opportunity to get in the way. Questions always going to be should he or shouldn't he from a fan's point of view. We all know we want to see him go to 154. I don't care who you are, stop playing games. I know Ross Cloud says, who did Crawford fight at 140? Man, listen, both fighters are on their own journeys in life. You know, who knows what Crawford would have done if there was an opportunity to get inside of this conversation the way Boots has that opportunity right now. Like, you got to bring everything together, and the stars are aligning. You know, you got Turkey. Very interesting putting up there. There's going to be money there. There's going to be legacy there. There's going to be a lot of great fighters in that division. If Jermell Charlo comes back into the picture, which I keep hearing that he is trying to get back into the picture, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora, you go across the board, Tim Tszyu, all those guys are huge fights for Jaron to make. So, I mean, look, he'll do whatever he has to do and whatever he thinks is going to benefit his career. But it does look like the boxing space in general is starting to get on board with the idea of Boots might be doing a disservice to himself as well as to his fans to see him in the ring with some of the best fighters of the generation, of his generation, sitting there at 154. Great fight to be made up there. You know what I mean? Let's see. Roscott said, what did Crawford have to do at 140 to make him great? Who did Crawford fight to make him great at 147? A washed-up alcoholic is nothing to brag about, and this can be great just like Crawford. 100%, and this can be great. You know what I mean? But the question is, as long as it's there for him, right? As long as the fights are there for him, I agree with you, man. If he can get the fights together and Turkey and Eddie Hearns can give these fighters the vested interest they need to sign these contracts and put these fights together, then I see Boots on the road to becoming undisputed at 147. And if it's there for him in that capacity, he should take advantage of it. But at the same exact time, there's pressure out there. There's pressure on Eddie Hearn and Turkey Al-Sheikh right now to make something happen that looks like a lot of fighters just work legitimately on purpose, getting in the way of and not letting happen. Right. So I'd like to see him go ahead and get his dreams, but I don't want to see him hanging there too long, not getting the fights that he needs to accomplish that legacy. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. Where's the proof that Ennis walks around at 190 when he's not fighting? Oh, I don't know. Somebody else must have told you that. I don't know about no evidence about that. Ross Scott, I don't know nothing about him walking around 190. I don't know if it's true or it's not true. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, no, I did say it, but there's a lot of people that I talked to and have met Boots. Actually, one of my cousins actually trained with Boots, and he told me himself he's definitely around 190 walking around when he's not preparing for a fight. I also heard that with another YouTube content creator that actually joined our show, who goes to the gym from time to time, and has mentioned that that's about his size. He's definitely, in his words, a big boy. Pause. He did say that, and we actually used to go over to his channel. So it's definitely some evidence of that. I haven't I personally seen it, but when I have people that I trust and I talk to on a regular basis tell me that, I have to believe it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. But Bud is 37 next month, and it goes to 154. Bud still ain't gonna fight him. Look, I told you already, Roscoe. He don't gotta fight Terrence. Terrence is up there. If that fight, if he wants that fight, that's the way you do it. You get in the way. You get in the conversation. I'm here to see him fight all those other fights as well. You know what I mean? I don't know if I've seen Boots challenge not one time yet. I haven't seen him really in a fight where I could say I saw him challenge. You got to chase that greatness sometimes, and sometimes you got to admit when it's not there for you. You got to know where it's at. that 154 division is screaming for Boots' presence right now to make fights, screaming for those fights to get put together. Shout out to Too Rich, Mr. I Respect the Belts in the building, saying Bozy said Boots stopped Madrimov but never mentioned Crawford. Yeah, man, listen, man, it seems like Bozy and Boots kind of, even a fight with Madrimov. Go ahead and make the fight happen with Madrimov. I don't care. Madrimov is a great opponent. And if you stop Madrimov, that does make a statement, being that Terrence Crawford just fought him and they took him to the distance and it was a competitive fight. Beating up on Madrimov could help out his argument. You know what I mean? Look, the money makes and breaks and changes a lot of conversations. When the right money gets on there, people get way more motivated and they get way more optimistic on making these fights happen. I'm even hearing rumors of potentially Canelo Alvarez, maybe taking into consideration of fighting a Terrence Crawford for the money at some point. You never know. Money changes and moves the needle in a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? Let's see. Ross said, I would love to see Ennis at 154, but if he won at 147 legacy, then it's not his fault. Crawford left. Yeah, it's not his fault, but it's his fault if he stays there, right? That's his decision. That's what he decides to do. The Casanova pugilist says, Bud has Turkey. Turkey would put up a huge bag for Boots versus Bud. He already said he wants that fight. 100%. Casanova, I agree with you 100%. He says he believes Bud and Boots is next in December. Wow. Okay. Never know. You never know. QT, I haven't seen Boots do one tangible thing to show he wants to fight Crawford. Man, talk about it. He petitioned for a belt while his network had a fighter locked in contract using a belt created for him. Man, listen. Boots, talk is cheap, man. Ain't nothing like that walk. Talk is cheap. And if Boots wants to get in that conversation, his feet can do a lot more talking than his mouth can. If he goes up to 154, challenges up there, tries to get one of those belts or get one of those mandatory spots, that speaks a lot in the direction of him and Crawford fighting. And he hasn't done that yet. And, I know a lot of that has to do with his father and the plans that the father has for him. But yeah, man, it's all up to Boots to see how he plans on carrying it. Roscott says that 190's cap, Ray. He would be on.
Listen, I'm glad he said that because I read it, and I just talked to my source, my little cousin. So
coming
into the chat right now, and he spars with Boots. He got him ready for a few fights. So he gonna verify it right now.
Okay. So Sonny Augustine said Roscott 222 that alcoholic was Boots mandatory for 2 years. I think he's talking about Errol. He says alcoholic. You can't help but think he thinks.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He didn't become as mandatory till like November when he fought Karen Kalgajani. That's when he actually got in line. That was a title eliminator there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm wrong. That was for the IBF interim title or whatever that was. When he got the title eliminator, it was against Cusio Clayton, and then he fought Karen. And when he fought Karen, he got that interim belt or whatever that belt was, and then he fought again for another IBF interim belt when he fought Vic, what's his name? Roman Villa. And that's when he got the other IBF belt, because if you notice he was walking around with 2 IBF championships. So he got the other one. And then that's when he became recognized for the mandatory at that point. He was never the mandatory before that.
Right.
They were trying to push for it, but no, they didn't give him that yet.
Okay. But yeah, man, seeing what Boots is going to do is going to be very interesting, man. I see, like I said, you would think that they're listening to the channel, you know what I mean, when we're having these conversations, because all of a sudden it's becoming a big topic across the whole content creation space. I've seen people who cuss us out for asking to see Boots at 154 all of a sudden.
There he is right there. There he is, Ross Clark, right at the bottom. You see it says I'm here?
Josiah
right there. Yes, sir. That's him right there. Ross Clark. You can ask him. If you don't want to ask him, I can bring him up and you can talk to him. But he sparred him, bro. He knows. He's been in that gym a million times. Salute, Josiah.
Salute, Josiah. If he wants a link, I'll send him the link. It's not a problem.
If you want to, rinse little cuz up, bro.
No doubt. Do that. That just happened. Yeah, definitely, man. If you want to come up here and share, Josiah, your experiences and what you also, I'd like to see his perspective as well as where he thinks he should be as well. Does he think he's good where he's at, or does he picture him moving up to 154 and becoming more dominant? I'm telling you, everybody who and people that I know from the gym, everybody says they can see it. They all say they can see it. They see him being a better fight at 154, being an even better fighter at 154 than we is at 147. So, it's just a question as to what's going to motivate him to finally make a decision in that conversation, or is he going to walk past it and just sit at 147 and do like his father tells him to do and become undisputed? Which, look, I'm here to see him fight regardless. At this point in his career, activity is also very important for Boots. Now, what do you think about the Karen Kukudashian fight? What does this fit in the plan? Does this make any sense to you at all? Is it okay? Do you think he has some sort of redemption that he needs to get to fight this guy? What's the purpose of fighting this guy again? Why would you fight this guy again?
Well, one, he's the number one guy in the division under the IBF right now because they moved Cody Crowley down. So he moved up to number one, which is crazy. So, but it's okay. He fought him already. He already proved it. Karen's probably looking for opportunity. Karen feels that he probably, could have did more in that fight instead of running so much, and he knew that Boots had a hard time catching him and trapping him in the corners. Mm-hmm. So he might feel that he has a legitimate chance to outpoint him and stay away from him, almost doing like our boy, what's his name? The Outlaw, Shakur Outlaw Stevenson.
Yeah, that's his name, right? Shakur Outlaw Stevenson.
He might. He's gonna come up though. But so he might feel that he might have an opportunity to outpoint him, score some rounds and stay away from him like he did last time. Boots may be objectively to knock him out this time and trap and cut off the ring. Because you heard Bozy in that, hey, what are you doing? Why are you letting this guy move around? Cut him off, knock this guy out. Let's get him out of there. And he just had a tough time doing that. So Boots may not play with the food this time. He might just get him up out of there and redeem himself for what he did and give the people of Philadelphia a show. In other words, another point of view I have is he doesn't need this fight. We don't want to see this again. If it becomes the same fight, it's going to just become Newark all over again, and people walking out the Prudential Center, and they're going to be walking out the I forgot what they call the old center over there in Philly. It used to be the Spectrum or whatever it was, but they call it something else now. You know what I mean? They're going to be walking out that arena, and they're going to be sitting there saying like, "Yo, there's no way we're going to watch this and this guy knocking him out, and we came here to spend all this money." So at the same time, it becomes a high risk, low reward fight, or a low risk, low reward fight. Actually, a double low. It all depends on where they move. I think you should look for the unification, plead with Eddie to get one. If not, look for somebody else that's a little bit more challenging. See if you can make that Conor Benn fight, which people would love to see Conor Benn and Boots in the ring. Even bringing Blair Cobbs in the mix. Also a Philadelphian who just came off a win against Adrian Broner and got back into boxing. That could be an interesting fight. But anything but what we are seeing with Karen Kukudashian, I don't think that's a good fight at all. Josiah, if you want, click that link if you want to come up.
No doubt. Yo, salute to Ross Scott in the building.
Salute. What's going on? So if Boots is walking around at 190, then he's a weight bully. He needs to go to 160 then. Forget 154.
He said he can make 160, but if he's
then
young,
that's where
if he said he can make 147, 154, let the man do it until he can't no more. That's all. I have nothing to do with that.
Well, then my whole outlook on him changed, and he's a weight bullying bum. I mean, there is no way that means, okay, so Amir Khan's walk around weight was like 175. And so you mean to tell me this guy is, and that was when he was fighting at 147. And now we got this guy walking around at like 190. Then he's a weight bully. So he needs to get crucified just like Haney, just like Benavidez.
Okay. And we have Bud saying that he's walking around 180. And we already seen that. Earl was walking around 185, 190. When he was fighting at 147. So
who, Bud?
Bud said he was about 180. He's been walking around about 180 his last couple of years. So what I'm saying is if these guys are in that same 10-pound weight limit at the same time, they're all weight bullies then, because you know what I mean, this is a different fight game.
Well, that of course. That I've been said that a long time ago. But to get to Crawford is in his mid-30s where your metabolism starts to slow down.
Right.
This guy is in his young in his prime right now, where his testosterone levels is through the roof. He's a weight bully.
Well, he's also about 6 foot, so I mean, he doesn't.
Yeah, he's a weight bully.
I get it. Listen, I'm not protecting him. I'm just saying. I mean, if he can do it, as we all said yesterday, if you can make the weight on weigh-in day, and you can go in that ring, and you can, and he's in the IBF too, so he has a 10-pound rehydration clause, and he can make that too and sustain the weight. Who am I to call him a weight bully if he's actually taking he's on a tough body. I mean, at the same time, it is what it is.
Well, the only reason why he could do it is because he's young, but he won't be able to do this for too long.
Oh, we know that. That's why I say he needs to go to 154. I think he should not stop wasting time there, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's wasting time down there then if he's walking around that way. I mean, that means he's a crew. He walks around the same way as Benavidez is on fight night. That's crap. I got a whole new outlook on he's a bum. He's a bum.
I could be exaggerating. Listen, I'm just going. I hear you. I could be exaggerating. He could have been. Josiah could have told me he was like 180 or whatever, but I thought he said 190. I'm not saying he's like. I'm saying I heard this, and he's not the only person to say it. I don't want to put our brother out there, but he's like I said. He came up here to the panel a couple of times. He has his own channel, and he's even been in the ring and said, "Yo, he's about 185, 190." So he was another person to verify that, and I was like, "Damn." You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, that's a big boy. He's close to 6 feet, walking around 190. That's crazy. And then you come down to weight. That's why he has a lot of power when he punches these guys. But it is what it is. I mean, like I said, Josiah, he actually was down there. He sparred him a few times. He got him ready for a few fights. So I mean, he's the best person to talk to about it. So I don't know if he wants to come up though. I asked him to click the link, but
yeah. Look, man, I don't know. That's what's going around though at the end of the day, because even if he's not walking around at 190, whatever, however you want to look at it, just seeing him, the eye test says that Boots is a big 147 pounder. He has a big frame. He's able to carry a lot more weight than he's carrying right now. But he's also a disciplined fighter. He knows how to stay in weight. That's why I would question whether or not he's walking around at 190. I don't think that's a mark of discipline to walk around at 190 when you're fighting at 147 if you're trying to stay in shape and stay active. But then again, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys said, he's a young guy. His metabolism is there. Maybe he's able to just make those extreme weight cuts. Boots doesn't ever, give me the impression of somebody who's doing something like that. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like if I see Boots, if Boots is walking around 190, I think that's irresponsible.
Yo, I'm calling cap on that. I'm calling cap on that, bro. Boots stay in the gym. He don't get out of shape like that to no 190. That's the weight to go to 147, and he got the IBF, and he had it for a while, and they have a rehydration clause. Come on, bro. I can't believe you even spreading that, bro.
It's okay. Listen, it is what it is. Like I said, we'll have the evidence come in soon. He said he's gonna be up soon.
Well, no one is disagreeing.
Frequent is out here. Frequent out there. Noise.
No one is disagreeing or agreeing with what your cousin is saying, because your cousin could be right. But on the flip side to that is Boots is young, and a lot of these professional boxers, they do look bigger and than what their true weight is, because they're just fit. Like I said, the testosterone is there. He might be 178, 180, looking like 190. So we don't know, but 190, like literally getting on a scale weighing 190. I agree with Clay. That is irresponsible. It is.
It could be.
Yeah, it goes against anything that most people feel about Boots Ennis. Like when you talk about Boots Ennis, you talk about him being a gym rat. You hear him being in the gym, you know what I'm saying, not only working out himself, but also being an example for a whole bunch of other fighters. Even his hit, it just doesn't line up. It doesn't align with who he's been portrayed to be. So walking around at 190 is something, to be honest with you, that Errol Spence was doing. You know what I'm saying? And we know Errol Spence was drinking, that he was, he talked about it, that he wasn't living a boxer's lifestyle. That's one of the things that he attributes to his poor performance in the ring with Terrence Crawford. And not to mention, we know he flipped a Ferrari, X amount of times, and also convicted of being under the influence, right? of doing that. So we know why he was walking around at 190. It makes sense why Errol was doing that type of stuff, but it doesn't I don't know, man. I don't see why he would be walking around at 190 pounds, trying to be active and trying to be in his father. How would his father feel about seeing him that way? Bozy, that throws a shot at a lot of people to say that he's walking around with one. Lance Martin said, what's wrong with 190? It's a lot of weight, man, to carry when you're fighting at 147. It's a lot of weight to be just walking around at. That means you're spending a large portion of your camp where you're supposed to be getting ready to fight. You're spending a large portion of that starving yourself and not eating and cutting weight and doing all kinds of things rather than working on your passion.
He just
might as well be at 168, bro.
He might be able to drop weight. You know what I mean? He might be able to do so. You might though, Ross Clyde. I do have a cousin actually also down in Philly, and he used to work out, and he was about 175, 169 to 175, and he definitely looked like he was about 200 walking around.
Right.
He was close to 6 foot. So I mean, you're right. It could just be the illusion of what people are seeing, and people are shocked when they see guys that fight, and like you said, they're 169 and they look like they're about 200 pounds. They'd be shocked when they see them, especially when they're closer to 6 foot. But like I said, I'm not sure. I'm not the person that was there. I know, like I said, our Clay and our brother over there at his channel. I'm not gonna say his name. Clay know who it is. Down in Philly, he actually made a similar statement. It said something very similar. Is it true? I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen Boots. I've never met Boots. If I ran up on him and I seen him and I was like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" and I can get a fair, assessment, then I will let you know. But I'm only taking from the people that actually were in the ring with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me. Oh, go ahead, Clay.
Well, no, yeah, I was just saying. JJ said it. This is all alleged. We don't know this is fact. That's right. A fact. Major.
Yeah,
fact,
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna respond to.
He's coming up, though. He's coming up. He said he's driving home, so he'll be
okay. I was gonna respond to Big Playboy. I don't think anyone is discrediting him because, like I said, we don't agree or disagree with him. But what I think is, like I said, I think he probably just looks like he weighs 190, that he's just a super fit dude because he's supposed to be a gym rat. Now, if he's 190, like Frequent said, if he's 190 and he's a gym rat, then he's not a gym rat weighing 190. Like it's no way. So I think he just looks like he weighs 190.
It's possible.
And speculations, fella. 100%, man. It's definitely speculation. And not to make a big deal out of it and hang on this conversation longer than we need to. But look, man, we got to stand behind. We got to watch. What we're saying at times, because if we're putting out false narratives about this dude, that's not a good look as well. 190 is a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? And if he is a gym rat, it's kind of hard to believe that he's competing at a weight class like 147 and walking at 190, and he's not getting pushback from Bozy or the people around him. And from what I understand, he's the one setting the example. Nobody got to get behind him because Boots been living in the gym ever since he's been like 7-8 years old. You know what I'm saying? This has been his whole entire life. So, I don't see the 190. And also I would question whoever, your cousin, is he seeing Boots on the scale? Like, is Boots jumping on the scale? You know what I'm saying? In front of him and giving him, or is he assessing it just based on how big he looks?
His cousin a Bud fan, bro.
That resonates with what Ross Scott said, though. Just like he may look like 190, he may punch and make you feel like he's 190, but I don't think he's 190, especially in the IBF in the IBF sanctioning body where he has that rehydration clause. He has to be real careful. To be walking around like that and fighting under those type of regulations, I don't see him being 190. 190 is a lot, man. It really is.
No, well, look at Jalil Hackett, right? Jalil Hackett looked like he was about 180. Right.
Yeah, Jalil Hackett is somebody who I think is yeah, man. I don't know, man. A lot of
that's what I'm saying. So we don't know that these guys are doing extreme weight cuts these days in the realm of boxing. So I don't know that for sure. Again, this is just speculation. This is just something that I heard through the grapevine, and I don't want to put something out there because if he could correct me, he'll correct me now. He'll tell me like, no, that's not what I meant. You know what I mean? He just looks like that, or whatever he's got to say. That's on him. You know what I mean? I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm just going by what I heard from multiple people. That's all.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody in the building. We got about 40 people in the building right now, guys. Please remember to hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. If you want to back out and hit that like button, I appreciate you guys. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and make sure you guys do that as well, man. Appreciate you guys being in here. So what do you guys think about just moving the needle, not away from Boots for a second here? We'll see what Boots does, but right now Brian Norman is in position right now. He's been pushed up to upgraded to a full WBO champion, and he's on some big fights and unification fights. He wants to become undisputed. He wants to become king of the division right now, and he even said that he'd be willing to fight Boots Ennis. What do you guys think about him? And also Teofimo challenging him as well, but I don't know what Teofimo's doing. I don't know what that guy's doing. He just always saying something, because I heard him say he wants to challenge Brian Norman for that belt. Then I hear he wants to go after Jaron Boots Ennis. Either one of those fights are great fights. But what do you think about Brian Norman right now as a full champion in that division? Who do you see him fighting against right now? What makes most sense for him? He's even been in conversations with Jalil Hackett, who looks like he's trying to get himself a title shot. What do you guys think about Brian?
Oh, wow. Again, Top Rank has a few of these fighters over there. So he says he wants to unify. So I think he's going to try to push either the fight with Barrios or Stanionis, or maybe even try to get into that Boots fight. He definitely mentioned he wanted to unify. He said after he unifies, he'll consider fighting Jalil Hackett. I heard that in the interview in 2025. But if he can't unify, he's more than happy to take on Jalil at this point. And there's a couple more fighters there that he can take on. I think I mentioned a few of them earlier. From Conor Ben to Mr. Blair the Flair Cobbs. We got Roman Villa. That's a good fight. We got Alex Rocha, who's right in the mix of returning to his championship status because he took that loss, but he's moving back up in the ladder. We got Raul Correll. There's a few fighters there that he can jump in and take on and see where that goes and how that looks. Even Patty Donovan is a good fight for him. So we'll have to see how it works out and what Top Rank has in store for him. If you don't like those options, maybe Teofimo coming up might be a good one. And surprisingly enough, if Devin Haney comes in and he says he wants a shot, why not give him one? So there's a few options. Didn't
he call out Jalil Hackett on a FaceTime or something?
They were on Mill City. It's actually he dropped the show on YouTube today. But they were on Instagram.
Check that out. I figured I saw something like that.
Yeah, they were on there. So I don't know how it went down, but I just know Jalil came up. Jalil's father was there, and then you also had Brian Norman Sr. and Jr. both on the mic, and they were actually just talking to you, and they were very gentlemanlike. It wasn't like they were beefing or going at each other crazy. Nice. Brian Norman Sr. was kind of like shouting a little bit, but he was really getting at them at Mills for telling them yo, Tio wanted to fight. He was like, Tio never wanted to fight, but it was crazy, man. So
Norman too big for Tio, man. That's a strong boy right there. I think he had hurt Tio.
No doubt.
If he wanted, let him go get it.
Right.
You're talking about fighting Terrence Crawford. Brian Norman just a little step. You know what I'm saying? For somebody like Tio, you talking about fighting Terrence Crawford. Brian Norman should be nothing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Let's see if he's nothing.
Keep Terrence Crawford. Stay the hell away from Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that happened to be shout out to Mill City, happened to be my brother, you know what I'm saying? So I can go ahead and play his you know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. What's going on here? Am I tripping right now? Let me fix this in the right one. Let me see if I can fix this where it needs to be.
Where the frequent go? He keeps every time I hop on, he ducked me. I don't have no beef with him right now. He just ran. As soon as I come on, he Ross Clyde is there. I'm gonna say my two-piece and I'm gonna bounce.
He don't want no issues. He don't want no problems. But here's a video right here of that interview right here.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna find that.
The WBO, for a title defense, it has to be against a WBO person in the ranking in the top 10, I believe. We don't mind fighting. They got you could pay people step aside money. If it becomes an exciting fight, which we trying to make this right now here today, if it becomes an exciting type fight where a motherfucker can fight whoever you want to fight, where people gonna put the money up and make that fight happen, and I think that's what we're gonna have to do to make this happen right now, unless he go knock off somebody in the WBO. So Jalil, just for you, next time shoot for somebody on our side on the WBO, because right now you in the rankings for Stanionis.
Yeah, the WBA. But I'm sure I'm not 1,000% sure how it worked. You know, we both young in the game, but I'm sure if he want to defend his belt against me and I'm acting for it,
I don't think they're gonna let
like
it.
they can make it happen.
Yeah, we both with the two top money makers. Y'all with Top Rank. We with Matt.
Absolutely.
Eddie love big fights. And I just on the way that I've been looking at this, you know, I don't think it's no bigger fight to make for the young welterweights than Jaleel and Brian. It's almost reminiscent of seeing Thomas Hearns and Ray Leonard. They fought each other when they was 24 and 26 or 23 and 25.
Right.
And look what their careers did. That fight didn't hurt them or diminish them. It made them even bigger stars.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm looking at how they doing these cards. You see the Turk working with he working with Matchroom on everything they want to get done. I'm watching the internet. They talking about Ortiz gonna fight Bud. They talking about Shakur gonna fight Zepeda and a Riyadh joint. If that's the case, I don't see no bigger fight at the welterweight. If everybody else don't want to fight, Jaleel and Brian.
Yeah, not to pause it too early, but did you guys notice? Did you guys get your eye on Khalil to see how he looked? I don't know if you guys had an opportunity to really take a look at it, but I mean, I'm looking. Like, look at him, bro. Look at his face. Does he look anything like he looks on fight night? Or no? It's ridiculous, bro. Like, he's cutting a lot of weight, bro.
Yeah, he's a big dude. Yeah,
that's a big boy right there, man. Now you're talking about somebody who's walking around. You know, I'm just saying, ratio wise. You know, what I'm saying walking around a 190. You know, just to give an idea. I believe Jalil's doing that. Bro. Right now, you think Jalil's like? What do you think he's? Look at his face. Let me get you guys. I just need everybody to kind of. I don't know if anybody ever really paid attention, but let's put a picture of Jalil Hackett right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
It's crazy, right? To see Jalil. Let's put Jalil Hackett. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let's put Jalil Hackett at versus Dobson press conference, right? Let's take a look at this real quick. And I just want you guys to kind of get a look at this and tell me what you think here. Look at this right here, bro. Hold on.
Right, you said that he's a social media boxer. I just
social media, but he's been knocked out before. I've never been knocked out. I've never been dropped, sparring amateurs, pros, and he's been knocked out.
He looks like P. Diddy right there with the
13,000, 14,000 people.
You know what that means?
You win this fight, you land yourself some huge.
He looked like P. Diddy in the Locks video.
Got to take this opportunity,
Eddie. I'm excited for our future together and the big.
Too, I love it there.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not. I don't got nothing bad.
Like, just think about it. Just think about it. Real spill. I don't have nothing to worry about.
From New Jack City.
It's training, and whooping your ass. Like,
you feel what I'm saying?
Nah, man. Hey, Clay, he looking like Eddie Kane Jr. from the 5 Heartbeats.
Now look at him right here. You don't even recognize him, bro.
Yeah, he looked like a whole different. No, that's a weight bully, man. He's a bum. He's a weight bully.
Right? I mean, that's happening. That's happening for real. You know what I'm saying? Now that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about these extreme weight cuts.
That's 190. Hey, Ray, that's 190.
Yeah, that's what 190.
Okay. Oh, hey, listen, I ain't mad at you for saying that. Listen,
I'm just kidding.
No, I got you, bro. Listen.
That don't make no sense, man. That don't make no sense. You know what I mean? And that's what we're talking about in this game right now. And, you know, it is part of the topic right now a little bit, just, you know, talking about in this weight bullying situation. Jalil Hackett, you know what I mean? And, you know, Roscott is right to the point. He doesn't play any games. I don't want to call him a weight bully, right? But when you see those kind of pictures, right, that's a clear, like, this kid, you don't even recognize him on fight night. Now he's young and he's taking advantage of his metabolism. He's taking advantage of his ability to make those hard weight cuts and compete on that level. That's what he's doing. But this kid probably should be 154 minimum and as high as 168, 160, 168 is probably where he should be competing at.
Yeah, fact. Look at the Charlos, man. Them dudes was weight bullying at 154. Them dudes is easily super middleweights. Easily. But that's what they do nowadays. It is what it is, man.
Exactly.
Don't you bully our subscribers, Clay. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But yeah, man, Hackett should continue working his way up. I hear you, Teach. I think without a doubt, Jalil Hackett is definitely putting himself in position. I think him and his father, that's a vibe I'm getting. Like they want to get in some title fights. They want to get Jalil up out of that damn 147. You know what I mean? Yep. They just want him to go into 154 with some accolades, with a belt or 2 belts, you know what I'm saying? Be a champion that he can get into the conversations of maybe challenging some mandatories up there at 154. You know what I mean? Which maybe that's what he needs to do. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is, but the young bull can only do this for a little bit while longer. By the time he hits like 25, man, that 154, that 147 division is going to be hard to believe that he was even fighting there.
And I'll be honest with you, Clay. I think both him and Boots can move straight to 160, and being at 160 is pretty much like a. I'm going to say it's not a ghost town, but it's definitely like a lonely division. I could see them moving up there and dominating those divisions because I don't think the fighters there are as talented as they are at 154. I think it's easier to conquer 160 than 154 for both of them.
No doubt. Yo, Ross Scott, what do you think about Frank Martin, or if you have any thoughts at all on Frank Martin moving up to 140 and trying to challenge Rayo Venezuela up there or get involved in that division, getting out of 135?
Oh, I think he could do it. I mean, he's pretty big. I mean, if you look at his frame, his back, I mean, he's bigger than Tank Davis. So I think 140, he'd probably be more comfortable up there. I don't think he took too much of a beating in that fight. I actually believe he was draining himself to get to 135. So I think 140 would be good. I don't know if he could beat Rayo though. That's gonna be a good boxing match. That's gonna be a boxing fight. Yeah.
I see that Rayo fight. If you don't mind me touching,
that's a good fight.
As like the Michelle Rivera fight, but I think it's a little bit more talent on the other end of that of Frank Martin.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. It's just that after getting like knocked out like that, I hope he don't be gun shy.
And he looked like he was gun shy with Aratuni.
Yep.
Early in that fight.
Yep.
Yeah, and he got clipped real good in that fight with Tank. He got really put out there. So that's the kind of knockout that could switch your whole outlook on getting punched in the face, right? How you don't want to never get punched in the face again. Right. We got to see.
And Rayo was a different fight too. He's tall. Right. Sorry, Clay, but he's tall. It's a different fight compared to fighting Tank. Man.
Yeah, 100%, man. He showed one thing. We always knew Rayo had the power. We always knew he was a puncher boxer. But that fight against Isaac Cruz really showed us a whole another aspect to his game, which is that boxing, his ability to move around. He was very effective with that approach. And Frank Martin, what's Frank Martin going to do? Is he going to try to outbox him, or is he going to try to bully him? What does Frank Martin think he's at in a match like that? I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I think it's somewhere Frank Martin to consider being at. I mean, I know we were thinking about Keyshawn Davis. We were talking about Keyshawn and Frank Martin getting it in, but listen, man, you got to go where the money's at and go where that weight cut has been aggressive for Frank. So we'll see.
And Rayo looked way more comfortable at 140 than he did at 135.
Yeah, we'll see. QT said, I like Martin. It was a crown to put him in with Tank after that Artsoon performance. Oh man, J Pitt City said Frank Martin versus Rolly. I think Frank Martin wins that fight, but it does seem like a fight that people would be interested in seeing. Rolly's going to be going for it, and Frank gets to stop him. I don't know. What does it do? What is that really? Rolly's just lost a lot of.
Listen, Rolly won his last fight with Pitbull. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. I know how that goes. Let me see here. What's going on here? What's going on here? So, Ross Scott, what do you think about Devin? You see him at 147 coming back, fighting on that?
Yeah, I seen it. I seen like a little picture or something where he said the boxing missed him or whatever, was boring without him or something. He's coming back, but I think he should have been fought at 147 a long time ago. Or at the least 140. I think he should do it. What I do believe though, I don't think he's going to be any stronger. I don't think he's going to be any faster. I think he's going to be the exact same Devin Haney from 135, 140, right at 147. I don't think there's going to be any I don't think he's going to be more powerful, none of that. None of that. If it was possible, he should have been moved up there. Too many years of cutting that weight. If anybody weighs 190, it's definitely Devin Haney.
Wow. Listen, actually, like I said, I don't know if you've seen him, man. He definitely don't look like he's 190. He looked like he's walking around like closer to 160 or lower, man.
He must have been training then because he always looked pretty big.
Right. Well, I think and I think I mentioned this before. I think he's taking a book at a Tank's book he's taking a page out of Tank's book, trying to walk around closer to his weight, and I think of his fight weight, and I think him being closer to 147, 140, or 154. I think that's going to help him make weight easier without the strain, and it'll keep his power there, which he definitely is. What people have said he has. I don't know. It's rumors in the street. I think his uncle, his godfather said it. We have seen him knock people out when he was a healthy 135. So, you know what I mean? It's not like he hasn't done it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, to think that he's supposed to be like a lot of people assuming that, but I mean, if he couldn't knock too many people out, the elites at 135 couldn't knock out. Well, he only had 2 fights at 140, but those didn't end in the knockout. Now at 147, where these guys are bigger, where they're rehydrating at a heavier weight, there's no way. And if he fights Ryan Garcia, hypothetically, at 147, guess what? Ryan Garcia will be strong at 147, will be fast at 147, possibly stronger at 147. I don't think it's going to be that way for Haney. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. I'm interested in seeing him. I'm definitely interested in seeing what Devin's going to be looking like up there, man. I was talking to who was I talking to? I don't know if I was talking to Ray earlier when we were talking about it. We was on that 3-way, but we still haven't, in my opinion, seen Devin Haney. I feel like we haven't seen that. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like Devin has always been dealing with these weight cut issues for a long time, right? Like he's just been dealing with these weight cut issues. And I want to see him where the weight, Regis was like kind of like a prequel to what it could be. It's like, oh man, okay, that was a healthy Devin Haney. He obviously had a great weight cut, and look how he performed. He almost stopped Regis Prograis. A lot of people feel like he just didn't put his foot on the gas, that he should have stopped Regis Prograis. So I want to see him outside of that uphill battle that he constantly is putting himself in. I want to see him just be healthy and see what he looks like, so I can get a real reality on who Devin Haney is.
I agree with that. Yep. Because Haney is still talented. Haney still got the boxing skills. It's just like I say it all the time. It's not his fault that he fought somebody that was on the juice. So we can't fault him. So let's see what it looks like. Yep.
Yeah, I see you put there in the chat right there about that with Oscar. You talking about that interview we had with Shay, right?
Yeah. Oscar's trolling.
He said he's the best fighter he's ever seen. I said, wow, that's a lot. But that also speaks to a lot as far as how he looks at him and why he doesn't want to put some Williams and Pate in that ring with him. You know what I mean? He wants to save, he wants that Shakur fight to be a fight where there's a lot of money on the line. There's some title unification going on there. And he looks like he's pretty much assuming that Shakur is going to stop him. And, or walk away. I mean, not Shakur, sorry. Devin. No, yeah, Shakur. Shakur is going to stop him or at least walk the win. Panda talks the same way. Panda thinks that Shakur Stevens is the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I'm saying? That's what he thinks. I find that hard to kind of like process. Like my coach thinks there's another guy in the division I'm in who's the best. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
facts.
That's gotta do something, right? It's like, I'm going to put you in this fight, Ross. You know what I mean? We're going to get this guy ready, but I ain't going to lie. He's the best fighter I've ever seen in my life, bro. He's the best fighter in the world. Like, what are you
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm just saying, we're going to get it done. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? I'm here with you. Damn, it got really nice. Like, damn it. Oh, I might have to put you on timeout for this one at least. For this fight, you might not be the guy I need to have in my corner.
Right.
You
hey,
really
for real, man.
Suck, bro. My day's sucking because of you, bro. My coach, my promoter, I don't know. It is what it is, right?
Because I think Shakur is going to walk through Cepeda. I think he's going to outbox the heck out of him.
I think we have not seen the best Shakur yet, and I'm so excited. Listen, bro,
It wasn't against Valdez. It wasn't against Valdez. You don't think? Then that's scary. Then that's scary.
It seems like, I'll tell you this: Williams Zepeda is going to be the first. Is going to be his biggest challenge, I think. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And those kind of fights bring out parts of a fighter like Shakur Stevenson that you just never seen before, because Shakur's the kind of guy who's not going to do more than he needs to. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna win that fight he's gonna use that straight line theory, the fastest way between 2 points. He's not gonna sit here and take crazy chances. He's not. Fighters like Shakur, fighters like Terrence Crawford, you know what I mean? I can go down and list a couple other fighters, but these guys have lost connection with the fan base, right? The fan base has rejected them, has called them boring, has not supported them. So they disconnected from the fan base. And they said, I'm just focused on winning and not losing, because I know if I lose, you guys will never mess with me again, because you're just waiting for me to lose to say that I'm a hype train and not giving me these opportunities I'm looking for. They focus on it. So they're not going to do extra. Terrence is a little different. He will perform. He has that dog in him. He has that inner fighter in him that he can't let it just be. He's going to take them risks. But Shakur has to be challenged to go in his bag. If he's not challenged, you won't see the best of Shakur.
Yeah, and you know what, too, Clay? You know how we all say, like, Haney was listening to the fans or whatever, and he fought Ryan Garcia like he wasn't supposed to. You could criticize. It could be a million people criticizing Shakur, and I believe he will ignore that and fight exactly how he needs to fight. He's way more disciplined than Haney, I think. This guy's going to stick to a game plan, and he's going to try to win no matter how. If it's boring, he don't care.
Not his problem, bro. He's already discredited. Yeah. He's already discredited all the fans as anybody who can critique him. He's like, none of you guys can say nothing to me that will ever hold any weight for me. I know how you guys are. You know, that's why, and you could tell Shakur went even deeper into that bag after that fight with Artunian. He just went on a campaign on Twitter just attacking everybody, right? Like, you don't know nothing about boxing. You don't know nothing about boxing. You don't know nothing about boxing. You soft. You ain't like Cam and Mace. Man, shut up. That's what I'm talking about. Perfect example. You don't know about boxing. Man, what? Oh, man, Andre Bird, you want to say something? You ain't nothing about boxing. Oh, these fans want to see me. No, y'all don't know nothing about boxing. Like, he has a support. He's no longer listening to the fan base. And listen, that might be one of his biggest weapons. It is. No pressure from the crowd to do nothing in that ring. No pressure.
Right.
He been like that though. You know, since he told everybody that they was casuals who thought that Errol was going to beat Bud.
Listen, is he wrong though? Is he going too far? Is he throwing shots at the fan base that they don't deserve, or is he pretty accurate head on with what he's saying, guys?
No, I think he's right. In my opinion, I think he's right. He's supposed to fight the way he fight. That's gonna make him a winner. We not the ones in there fighting. So I could call him a bum and say he's a track star, but I'm not in there fighting for him. So he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do, not listening to nobody but him and his coaches.
Right. There's pressure there, because when you look at like a Tank Davis, you know what I mean, or certain fighters like that who kind of like, you know, Tank cares about what the crowd says. He does. He cares. His performances, he doesn't like that energy of the crowd booing him. He'll change up. If the crowd starts booing, Tank could get more aggressive all of a sudden, right? He'll become more aggressive. He'll start trying to do things to make the crowd not boo him. Is that a weakness of Tank Davis when you're getting in the ring with somebody like Shakur? Is that something that Shakur can take advantage of with his discipline to walk Tank Davis into something nasty? And I'm talking about them fighting each other, obviously. Is that a weapon in the back of Shakur Stevenson's pocket, and also a potential weakness when you talk about what weaknesses Tank have? People say he has no weaknesses because they say he's an all-around great, powerful puncher. He can do. He can work off the back foot. He can work on the front foot. He has great movement. You saw him do that with Isak Pitbull Cruz with one arm, still be in the pocket, moving around and boxing with one hand, hooking off with that hand, straight jabs with that hand, uppercuts with that hand. But is his weakness his loyalty to his fans when he gets in that ring?
I mean, I don't know, but I will say this: as much as we criticize Tank Davis's resume, his resume is still better than Shakur's. And so from the looks of it, it looks like Tank Davis can do it all. We haven't really seen that out of Shakur, but except for him being this boxer who's feet first defense. So for me, I don't know what Frequent and them going to say, but for me, so far, I'm still leaning towards Tank Davis to beat him, but that's just me. But No, I think everything like I said earlier, I think he's doing everything right, and Tank Davis could do that. Tank Davis could be like, oh, you want to see this out of me? Okay, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I'm not doing this. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Whereas Shakur, he like, nah, if I might not be able to do that, so I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. That's what I see.
No doubt. Free.
Yeah, man. I think I'm leaning more towards Tank. You know what I'm saying? To win that. I don't think that that's a weakness of Tank. For the most part, Tank, he always show us that, he able to step up to the plate and, make things happen. So I wouldn't say that that's a weakness of his. I just say that I would say more so that's one of his strong points, that makes him step his game up. When he hear disappointment in the crowd or whatnot, then he's going to pressure you. He's going to put pressure on the other fighter. I don't think he walks into something or nothing like that. I just think that he's still going to be smart about it, but he's just going to press the other fighter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree with you guys on that, but I do think, like, I don't know, man. It's something about being numb to the crowd. And, Shakur is definitely numb to that crowd. And I think Tank Davis is very, he's very tentative to the crowd. He hears the crowd. It does something to him. He moves differently. He'll take more chances. He wants to get that crowd cheering him. I've even heard him say before, like, he can never have the crowd booing him. He was like, he can't have it. He doesn't want to even deal with it. He operates off that energy. So Shakur's slowing that fight down, making it difficult. Get the crowd like boo a little bit. Tank might be like, you know what, I'm gonna step it up and I'm gonna take a couple more risks. And then somebody like Shakur and his grandfather Moses strategizing, thinking about that, take him into round 6 or 7, have him down on the cards. And before you know it, you got Tank walking into all types of bad energy. You know what I'm saying? Make it, all of a sudden Shakur starts punching on Tank, bro. It's possible. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm leaning Tank for the win. I am. But I'm just entertaining, playing devil's advocate, saying that Shakur's relationship with the crowd and you can never bait Shakur into doing something he doesn't want to do. I believe he's very disciplined. The question is, can Shakur bait Tank into something he doesn't want to do, just based off of what the crowd is doing, based on him slowing that fight down like that?
Clay, we a lot of times we see the elite fighters, interact with the crowd and do things like that. We've seen Tank on multiple occasions, engage with the crowd, tell people to shut up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Other people that's talking on the sidelines while, out in the stands and whatnot. You see Bud, standing up and pointing at Charlo and telling, saying different things to Charlo. I think that's good. I don't think that would be a weakness, for them to, because a lot of fighters, they draw energy from the crowd,
So this is how I see things carrying. Actually, this is what comes to mind. I think Tank wins this fight because I think he's able to cut off the ring on Shakur and keep that movement, that back foot movement, from happening with the pressure. Another thing I see that Tank does well, and Shakur is very weak at, is Shakur never moves his waist off the line when he's moving. He's very trickery. He moves his head, and people follow his head because they're always trying to not punch him in the head. They never go for the body, which Tank is excellent for attacking the body on his opponents. But this is where it gets tricky. When I go back and look at fights, and I look at Leo Santa Cruz, I look at Gamboa, and what's up, Josiah? What up?
What's going on?
When I see these fighters, going into that route and that realm, and I think, wow, if they can hit Tank with the way they were hit, like going in that ring and in the fight and moving around back and forth, where Ross Scott go? He ran. No, he ran. I'm messing around. And they can hit, and he can get. If they can hit Tank, why can't Shakur? If Shakur can stay on the back foot and use that jab and utilize the hooks as Tank is trying to come in. Remember, Tank only fought like 3 southpaws, so now he's in a realm of somewhere he's not used to. So now, how does it work out for Shakur if he doesn't get caught? If he's able to evade Tank's punches, he's able to keep that that jab and that hook out there to beat Tank in. And then, like you said, Clay, Tank becomes hostile because he's behind on the cards like he is with Barrios. But Shakur remains disciplined and not like Barrios and going in thinking that he can just keep utilizing the same tactics. So I definitely could see how that can be a issue for Tank. But I do think Tank wins this fight because he's the ability to cut off the ring. But those are just something I wanted to throw out there.
No doubt, no doubt. I don't know if Josiah wants to come back on it because I definitely wanted to bring him on.
Tank got a chin too, y'all.
It's not about the chin. Tank never get hit to the body, just like Shakur don't get hit to the body. So
no, I'm talking about as far as Clay saying that, you know, Shakur might walk him. You know, he asking the question, do Shakur walk him into something?
Oh, he can.
You know,
having a chin.
Right. I don't mean stopping Tank, but I do mean walking him and just turning the fight into. Can Shakur all of a sudden get real? Shakur can operate well in the way he fights because Tank won't allow the fight to become boring. So Shakur can count on that and be like, you know what? I'm gonna let him press it. I'm gonna let him, you know what I mean, get down on the cards, and then he's gonna start walking the shots, and it's just gonna look bad for him if I'm starting to piece him up. Yo, salute, Josiah. How you doing, family?
Change your hair, bro. You gotta braid it back now. Okay.
Yeah, Josiah. Hold on.
You're on mute.
Who would y'all say got the speed advantage between those two fighters?
Hold on, freaking. Hold on. I'm gonna get Josiah. I'm in the conversation. So, Josiah, what's good with you, family?
What's going on?
Doing well, man. Introduce yourself a little bit. Tell everybody like your background a little bit, like what you're doing right now in the boxing space, and you know what I mean. Where you are.
Man, my name is Josiah Kirkpatrick. Right now, I'm currently ranked I'm supposed to be ranked number 2, but I ain't gonna lie, USA Boxing, they got me as number 3 because I ain't go to that many tournaments this year. But yeah, I'm ranked number 3. 2-time Golden Glove champion, Diamond Glove champion. I don't know how many times I won that. I won that a lot. 2-time international medalist. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
No doubt. So you have some sparring experience, you know, with a lot of these pros out here. Like what weight do you fight at?
I fight at 147. I'm coming from 139 now.
Okay. And you got some work that you're putting in with some of these guys, and obviously including why Ray brought you up here against Boots, that you sparred a little bit with Boots before, right?
Yeah, I sparred. I didn't spar Boots itself, but I sparred in front of Boots, and I watched him spar all the time.
Okay.
I ain't said the ring with him yet.
Okay, got you. All right, I got you. Now, do you feel like he walks that he walks around like up there in weight? You think he's up there like around 190?
I don't think 190. Probably like definitely 180 though. Definitely 180.
Like he a big boy in the ring.
Yeah, I'm about to say if you see him off, like, you know, when he's not training or whatever, when he's not getting ready for a fight, he a big boy. He big. Yeah.
You think
all in his face?
He's doing some heavy weight cuts? You know what I'm saying, before the fights, without a doubt.
So. Yeah, I think so, for sure.
Yeah. So you probably, you know, I mean, what do you feel about him going to stay at 147 or going to 154? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you think that move is just more realistic for him, or you think 147 is okay? Go ahead and chase these belts down.
Go ahead. If he can still make that weight, go ahead and chase the belts down until he can't do it no more.
Yeah, no doubt.
I feel like that's the best decision.
Okay, definitely.
I know he could do it. Yeah, I know he could do it.
No doubt. Yeah, man, I think as long as he can get the fights, he should definitely do it. I just question his ability to get the fights. It just seems like everybody's doing everything in their power to get out his way, right? Like, I don't want to fight him. I'm not fighting him. And, you know, once you have a belt, that mandatory position goes away. He doesn't get to like activate mandatory positions with these other belts. He has to negotiate something that makes sense, that he makes these fighters want to sign that you know, get that paperwork done and get him inside that ring. How long, you know, if they're gonna put him outside in the cold, I don't know. They're gonna keep him outside of the conversation of unifying. Does he have to accept that at some point and be like, you know what? I got to go to the next best opportunity.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, if the opportunities don't present itself, he has to do that. But I'm not gonna lie, it's like, yeah, like you said, it's a lot of people ducking him or avoiding him because you even had Sean Porter even say, he even said it. He said if he had to fight that man Jaron Ennis, he's not taking that fight. So it's all Porter don't run from nobody.
Right.
You know, that's how you know he got something special. You know, a lot of people avoid him. You know, people are scared of him.
No doubt. It's something for him to take into consideration. You know what I mean? Something for him to definitely take into consideration. And it looks like the boxing space right now, including Turki Al-Sheikh, is also kind of putting pressure on him to make that move. You know what I mean? They want to see him move around a little bit. They want to see him up in the 154. A lot of people want to see him against Terrence, but you know, if that fight's going to happen with Terrence, it's going to happen at 154 if it happens. You know, he has to put himself in position to make that happen. He has to find a way to put himself in position.
For sure. I seen somebody say something about Jalil Hackett, man. They said Jalil Hackett is a bum. That's crazy.
He was just that was Ross Clyde. He was just saying that he was basically calling him a weight bully, right? When we were just showing a video of Jalil just doing right now, just being in a conversation with Brian Norman Jr. You know what I'm saying? And you saw how his face looked. It was crazy different than when
he looked big, right?
Yo, crazy.
I know
he
him.
Didn't look, like you couldn't recognize him. It was like you couldn't recognize the person who he was.
I used to fight. Well, I think I fought Jalil in the amateurs when I was young, like when we was kids. I fought him, I beat him. Well, I don't even mean to say it like that, but yeah, I fought him. And like I trained with Brian when I was also a kid too. And Brian fight the same way, like that y'all see him fight on TV. That's the same way he fought back then, like a black Mexican, come straight forward.
See, Blake, I told you.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Does that mean he's not evolving? Does that mean he's not like, what does that mean? Like, is that a good or a bad thing for Brian Norman?
It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing it's a bad thing. I'm not gonna hold you. If you can't change your style, because if you can't change your style, say if you got a different opponent, you got somebody that knows how to move, it's gonna be over. That you seen literally what just happened to Pitbull and Rayo. Yeah, I'm about to say that. That's literally how that fight is probably gonna look if he finds a person that knows how to move.
Who you favoring? Who you leaning towards? Jalil Hackett and Brian Norman. What do you think?
I ain't gonna lie, that would be a tough fight. You know what's crazy? Because you know how I just said black Mexican, how he fight like a black Mexican. That's what they also used to say about Jalil too. but he's more versatile than Brian Norman. In my personal opinion.
So factoring all that in, you know what I mean? Factoring all that information in, I don't know. This sounds like Jalil got a real good shot at becoming a champion if he can get that fight with Brian Norman.
Yeah, I feel like he could. Yeah, that'd be a good fight though. It'll be a great fight. Pete Dobson, I was about to say I'm not gonna lie, in the later rounds, Jalil started looking tired in the later rounds. So if he looked like that with Brian Norman feeds off of that type of stuff. He as the later rounds he gets stronger. So feel me, it's that's scary. That's scary for Jalil Hackett.
Yeah, it seems like Jalil Hackett is putting a lot of speed. Like he's picked up a lot of speed in his career. Like, you know, what was he? Was he at 8-0 going into his last fight against Dobson? Was that what his record was?
I think so. It's either 8 or not. Yeah, I think 8-0. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Right, and now his next fight, he's trying to, you know, get into a belt with Brian Norman at 9. You know, I mean, comparison to, let's say, an Abdullah Mason who's sitting at like 14, you know, right, or something like that, and he's still considered a prospect. Jalil's like putting a lot of Jalil and his father are putting a lot of they're pushing their foot on the gas with his career. I can't help but feel like they're trying to get him out of 147. Like they want to hurry up and make something happen 147. Like, let's make something happen in this damn division, or let's get the hell up out of here, bro. So let's get some belts, or I just don't see Jalil being in that 147-pound division long. It just looks like the weight cuts are extreme.
Yeah, too extreme. Yeah, I don't think he'll be that much longer.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? Barbecue and mildews. It's time to shit on the pot, shit or get off the pot, man, with that division. No prospect energy in 147 for Jalil Hackett. Nah. We'll see. Funny. What you laughing at? The Afro Rican?
Yo,
I was about to say, I was laughing at you, man. I was thinking about it. He's not gonna be there long. Jalil not gonna be there long.
Yo, that last weight cut he did over there with Pete Dobson, your boy had the white stuff all around his mouth.
Yeah, everybody was saying that in the comments. I was reading the comments. They were saying
he looked like he was thirsty, bro. It looked like he just wanted a glass of water. Like you just wanted to give him a glass of water. Like you just wanted to throw that dude a bottle of water. Like, here, man, all you gotta do is ask, bro. You don't need to sit over here looking like this, but you know that he's cutting weight. You know he's cutting weight.
I mean, to be honest, it gotta be. I'm about to say, even if what we just talked about, he not gonna be there for that long. He gotta know that himself too, because if he keep on playing this dangerous game, going all the way, making these dangerous ass weight cuts, he's not going to be durable in the sport.
Yeah, that punch resistance can get kind of weird too for him. You know what I mean? No water around your brain. You mess around with some punches. You in 147 pounds. There's some punches in there, man. And Pete was working with him in that last fight. Now he beat Pete though. You know what I'm saying? No question about that. But Pete was working with him. You know what I mean? Pete wasn't no lay down. What do you think about Devin Haney making his return, man? And being at 147? Are you optimistic about that? Did Devin Haney lose a lot of weight? I mean, lose a lot of I don't want to say weight. Lose a lot of
fans.
Yeah, just that fight he had with Ryan Garcia. Do you think that affected the visual on him and what you expecting from him? Like, what do you think about him fighting at 147?
Yeah, it definitely opened up a lot. A lot of people. I feel like, man, as soon as I open up Twitter, the first thing I see is it's a lot of boxing. It be this dude that be on my feed. He'll be like reminded of how Devin Haney got beat. So it really does. That shows on his own how people really just don't really mess with him. And then you seeing that when at the fight recently, at the Crawford fight, everybody was booing. So I feel like a lot of people did. Don't like him now, or they changed their mind about him.
You have any experience being in the gym with him, or seeing him spar, or sparring him, or anything like that?
Nah, actually, I haven't. I was supposed to go before he fought Ryan Garcia in Brooklyn. I was supposed to go to. He was training at this gym that I know, and I was supposed to go there, but he was already out of there before I came.
Okay, no doubt, man. We're gonna move the needle a little bit, and we're gonna get into a little bit of this Tim Tszyu conversation as well. You know what I'm saying? At 154, Tim Tszyu on the outside with Turkey. Turkey don't want to work with him, but Tim focused on this fight he got coming up right now against Bakram. First of all, Ray, same thing with Frequent, everybody in the building. We all comfortable with Tim Tszyu walking away with a win in that fight, right? Or do you think it's going to be one of those Eastern Europeans again that kind of bring that awkward energy to the conversation where Tim could actually be on the bad side?
Tim should win this fight, but you know what I mean? These Eastern Europeans be sneaky, bro. They loading their gloves, whatever they doing, putting some jets in their boots, roller skates on their feet, whatever they got to do. They've been doing some tricky business, man. And I don't mean that in a cheating way. I'm just saying they've been actually showcasing themselves and being very disciplined when they come to these fights. And they're showing a different side of the world that we're not privy to. So now that we're seeing it and they're exposing themselves to the world, we're actually starting to see what the Eastern Europeans can do. Not to mention, Tim Tszyu has actually been in Australia for quite some time. He's been doing this thing, and even making it stateside a couple of times, and showcasing that he's got the ability to keep fighting. I think styles make fights, and I think Tim Tszyu's used to fighting the Europeans. I think his first couple of fights were over there were a bunch of like pan Asian and European fighters in Aussie. And he fought a lot in England before he started making his way over to the States. So I think he'll be pretty comfortable. I got him comfortably walking away with the win.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Tim Tszyu wins that fight. I think Tim Tszyu is a skillful fighter. He just ended up on the wrong end of a awkward fight with a freak accident happening in there. You know, I think and on top of that, he was winning that fight, I think, before the freak accident happened with the elbow to the top of the head and all of that. I think I think Tim Tszyu gonna shine. I think Tim Tszyu is too skilled, to get beat by this guy. I think Tim Tszyu wins.
Yeah. I got Tim Tszyu. He should. But yeah, like Ray said, the overseas people, there's somebody to look out for because their styles are a lot different. The U.S. is not really aware of how good overseas people really are. I feel like some people take it for granted.
What do you guys think about what Roy Jones said? What he said about the Olympics and, the quality of fighter coming out of America right now and their development and all those different things. Like, are you guys on, like, do you feel like there's a decline in the skill set out here? Like the boxers out here just aren't as good as they used to be. I mean, we did horrible in the Olympics. That's a fact.
Yeah.
No medals.
Yeah, it could be some truth to that. I didn't watch the Olympics, but I was talking to my homie, and he was watching the Olympics, and he was asking me what was up with the boxers. And when I asked him what was going on, he said, "Man, they not holding their hands up. They trying to be pretty out there, and they losing on points. I don't know what's up with them and everything. All of them was losing." So yeah, I think there's some truth to that.
I can say myself, I know that USA or Team USA, they really the way they try to train the people that they know is going to the Olympics, they try to train it just like the overseas people. They try to train them just like the overseas. So they want them to have like the same style. It's a different style. When you fighting in the Olympics or when you fighting like overseas for the Olympic team, it's a way different style from like what you see at the regular nationals or regular amateur shows and definitely professional. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like we just haven't adapted to that yet. Like we haven't adapted to that overseas style yet.
Yeah, shout out to Too Rich, Mr. I Respect Belts. He says he's just trying to make money, not be the best at their craft. I mean, even Tank Davis made a little bit of a comment I thought was significant a few weeks back where he said he noticed like a lot more southpaws in the game right now.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like southpaw is like, it's a hard style to prepare for and to deal with. A lot of these fighters seem like a lot of right-handed fighters now seem like they want to put that power hand up front. You know what I'm saying? So they can become more significant with them jabs and everything like that. And they want to they want to be exciting fighters. They want to go for the knockouts and all those things. Are you noticing that at all? Like, are you noticing a lot of right-handed guys just choosing to fight southpaw in the gym right now?
Yes, I was about to say I'm not gonna lie. Even myself, I'm trying to learn southpaw.
Right.
I'm trying.
What's the significance of that stance? What's the significance of it? What is it that everybody wants to get on it for so much?
Significance of coming with it is like once you learn how to fight southpaw, and say you got a person like me or not like me. I mean, I've been fighting southpaws all of my life, but like anybody that you realize has trouble fighting southpaws, that comes in handy like a whole lot because if a person can't. I was about to say as soon as you switch to southpaw. And you notice that, it's gonna be a terrible night. It's gonna be a terrible night for the other person.
Yeah, no doubt. There it is, right there. Too Rich. Yeah, I'm noticing that, man. I'm noticing a high volume of that happening. But look, we go to the Olympics right now, and you see what the results are. Are they leaving something on the table by jumping into being consumed with seeing a Tank Davis compete or seeing a Terrence Crawford compete? You know what I mean? All these big southpaws that are in the game right now who are doing a real good job in the game right now. Are these guys being affected by this too much, or whether they're allowing it to like affect their pedigree in general?
I think so. Yeah, it's getting to a lot of people's heads. I feel like, yeah, like you feel like some people feel like they need to learn it, or they need. I don't think you need to learn it. If you, it's all about comfortability. There, like when I'm fighting a southpaw, I feel like I've been fighting a southpaw all my life. So like, it's like I grew up with so many southpaws that I feel like I know how to them now. I know how to beat I feel like I know how to beat any southpaw in front of me. I'm gonna put it like that. But
fighting southpaw, it's supposed to be effective against fighting the person that's orthodox, right? So because it allows you to neutralize that jab, neutralize their jab. They say the best punch to catch a southpaw is straight down the pipe. Straight right down the pipe. As far as the Olympics, man, they got a different point. They fight different anyway, though. It's a pointing system. They're not really they're not really hurting nobody. Trying to hurt them. They just trying to score points and stuff like that. So I think it don't really make a difference when they get here, when they get to the pros or whatever. It's going to be a whole different ball game. You're not going to be trying to score points and stuff. But I think it's just to neutralize that jab, though, the southpaw.
Salute to True Rich, Mr. I respect. How you doing, family?
All right, what's going on? What's going on, Clay and Ray and panel?
We're doing great. We're doing great, man.
I was gonna speak on the southpaw thing. I told people, on my channel and other lives I've been on that it's the Crawford effect. Fighters gonna tend to imitate the best that's out there. One time Mike Tyson was the best. People try to imitate him, so it's natural for people to try to imitate. But the problem is everybody's not gonna be able to do it like Crawford. Crawford has a God-given talent, which is he has long arms. A lot of these guys' arms are not as long as Crawford, but what the switching to southpaw for an orthodox fighter allows them to throw sharper, shorter punches. And that's what you see from Crawford, short, sharp punches, a power jab that'll keep the guy off you because you're shooting a power jab. The problem is the defense. Like you say, the southpaw is always going to be open to the straight right down the middle. So you have to have a control of distance. And that's what you see with Crawford. He controls the distance. And I don't think a lot of people notice that part of it. I think they realize they can punch harder switching to southpaw, but they don't understand the control of distance. Now, to let you know, Shakur Stevenson is not a natural southpaw. He's a converted southpaw, meaning he's an orthodox fighter that's been fighting so long at southpaw. That's why his left hand always shoots out straight. So if you think of a Tank Davis, or if you think of an Errol Spence, they're going to loop their left hand because that's the power hand. The power hand always comes in at a curve. You could do more with your power hand. But if you're orthodox fighting southpaw, you're going to shoot that left like a jab because that's your jab hand. So it's going to always come out straight, but allow your hook to be more powerful. So Crawford could throw that left hand. When the guy not looking, he hooks him with the right, which is making that right more powerful because the guy don't see it. But Lomachenko is not a natural southpaw. Lomachenko the same way you call it, he fighting at an angle when he actually not. He just switching to his power hand, which is the right hand, which is closer to you. He just that left hand is a decoy. He only gonna shoot it straight. So that's how you could tell a converted southpaw. Bam Rodriguez, he's a converted southpaw, meaning he's an orthodox fighter fighting southpaw. So it's effective if you can control the distance. But if you can't control the defense, it could be a detriment because you're gonna be open for that straight right hand. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as those overseas fighters, they are really good because they fight tournament style, meaning it's no picking and choosing and matchmaking. Meaning you got to fight the next guy that's in the tournament, so they're good. But one thing notice about those Eastern European fighters, they do not step on the gas. They're very good, but they don't step. We saw that with Lomachenko in the Devin and T.O. fight. Toward the end of the fight, did not step on that gas. We saw that with even Madrimov and Crawford. Toward the end of the fight, did not step on the gas. Boychuk and Ortiz, Boy Chuck did enough to win, but he did not step on the gas. And I think that's the reason why you can't really complain with them giving that fight to Ortiz. So those Eastern European, they're going to be tough. They're going to be good. And they also switch from southpaw a lot of time, from southpaw to orthodox to southpaw. But they just don't step on the gas. They do not step on the gas. They seem to think they have done enough to win, and they don't press the gas.
Yeah. What do you think about Roy Jones's comment though? As far as, do you think that what we're seeing in the Olympics kind of like is a telling factor in what's going on in boxing here? I mean, when you look at the results of like the Martin McCauley and Jaron Anderson fight, or the competitiveness of the Madrimov and Terrence Crawford fight, or even going overseas and seeing how Raymond Ford performed against Nick Ball, it seems like a lot of these European fighters, the Usyks, the Vasily Lomachenkos, even the Argentinian gave Frank Martin all that he could handle on the night when he was fighting him. Is there a decline in the pedigree of boxing coming out of America right now?
Yeah, and I think it's purely mental. So I switched my tab. If you ever get a chance to go to my channel and look at my video, that's like my tagline: Too Rich, aka Mr. I Respect the Belts. The reason why I say that, because I can see, I used to play sports, so I'm a real big, I take it personal. So I understand the pinnacle of the sport has to be the driving force. And what has happened, these guys now, they don't care about the belts. They don't care about the legacy. Like I said, they don't understand their intrinsic value. So they're out here trying to really fight for money. They done bought into the Floyd Mayweather, Tank Davis mentality. Their belts don't matter, so they're not fighting for legacy. You have to do it for something bigger than yourself. Money is not enough. We hustle for money. We cut corners for money. But when you have a legacy, these guys are coming for their country. They fighting for their country. They fighting for their families. They have another reason why they're doing it. And these guys up in America are buying into the lifestyle of just saying, forget the belts, forget all that. I just want some money. You're never going to do your best if money is the only thing that you're after. And I think that's what's going on right now. There's just no legacy. The belts don't matter. They don't have anything that they're doing it for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think I see it. I see the decline. And that's why I kind of value what Turkey's doing. That's another reason why I value what Turkey's doing in the game. I was talking to Ray and them a little bit earlier saying there's one part of the game where it's like, as a fan, we get to see the best fight the best, and that's great for us. But at the same time, I think the boxers benefit from it. I think that their development benefits from being in the ring with the best, because some people just won't change unless they're forced to, unless they have to adapt to the new environment and have to be better now to win these fights. But I think just by a side effect of it is these fighters are motivated once again to kind of like redeem themselves as far as like a country, as far as like a style of fighting to show the superiority in the world and step up their game. You know what I mean? In different ways. Right. I think it's important.
Exactly.
I just wanted to circle the wagons again and bring it back a little bit. I wanted to ask Josiah, did he see Shakur when he was up here? Because I know he knows Shakur personally. He sees him a lot. So did he see him when he was up here? What was it like last time you see him in the gym, and did you spar with him at all?
Nah, I didn't see him, only because I was about to say him. I didn't fly. Yeah, I'm about to say good spirits, good people's with him. I'm good people's with him. So like, but nah, I ain't really see him after the fight or none of that. I ain't trained with him or none of that for this upcoming fight. The time that I was supposed to spar him, but I forgot something happened. He just never showed up.
Right. I think you got some people ready, like Teofimo, Chris Colbert.
I said, I got Teofimo, Chris Colbert, Coolboy Steph.
Right.
Abdullah, Richard Hitchens.
He's got a fight coming up.
Who, Richard, right?
Yeah. With,
He's fighting Lebanon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting fight. Lebanon is a dog, man. He fought with Keyshawn, but I mean, skill wise, he presses that action though. It's another fighter who's gonna be pressing that action with Hitchinson. I don't know if he's gonna do it like Lemos, whatever his name was.
Yeah.
I don't know if he does that, but Lebanon does bring that
And that's another edge of the world that actually fights different. They have a high pressure boxing style over there in Argentina, man. Be careful with those dudes, man, because them dudes like the pressure, and they don't care if you hit them. They just try to walk through and try to get their shots off, and they hit you, and they just hit you with power. Almost like the fight we just seen this weekend, where both opponents were just standing there, didn't care if they got hit. They was just battling back. It was like fighting in a box, and they do that down there. So you ever get the opportunity, you know what to do. Well, you know what to do. I know. Oh, is it true that I talked to Mom Dukes. I ain't gonna say her name on the panel, but I heard you going pro, man. When that happening?
That's real soon. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting on the right card.
Okay.
I'm waiting on the right card. I'm trying to be close to home.
All right. Have you talked to Rachel since then?
No, I haven't talked to Rachel yet.
No, you better reach out to her, man. You know how that works. She gave you her information. Don't sleep.
Yeah.
They're there to help, man, and they're there to steer you the right way. And they're friends of the channel too, so always come back. You're not doing that. Come through.
All you gotta do is send it to me. I got it now, though.
Yeah, definitely. Just say the channel. Tell your mom too. You know what I mean? We're gonna try to get that interview going with her, because I'm gonna block her out though. I don't want her showing her face, but she got tons of information. People don't understand when I tell them.
I was about to say she got, and then she like to talk, so it's like
man. She, when I tell you, she know it all about all these boxes, bro. You know it, I know it, but yeah, it's cool. But yeah, man, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming up. If you want to stick around, please do.
Appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for having me.
I know you're trying to play Call of Duty. That's why I'm.
Oh no, it's time for me to go to bed, man.
Okay, well then, yeah, go do that, man. All right.
Good night, and everybody.
All right, man.
Yes, man. Peace.
Hey, you know another thing, man. The rest of the world, if you're an athlete, they looking at America and they see these tomato can fights. And we're looking soft. The MMA people think they can beat the boxers. I heard a new way say that even black boxers are scared to be punched in the face. You can see the fear in their eyes. All that is coming from this tomato can style fighting. And I do think if Turkey keep putting on these 50-50 fights, the threat of losing is going to make these fighters better. That it's definitely going to make them better because it's not a walk in the park no more. It's not a blessing for Al Heyman to get this little, tomato can fight to make some money. Now you got to go out there and really fight to get paid or get embarrassed or lose or whatever the case may be. And that's going to make them better. But this tomato can style fighting that's been going on is making the athletes worse, and the rest of the world is watching it. They see it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's what I was saying a little bit earlier. Like, what Turkey's bringing to the table is great for the fans, obviously, but it's also great for the boxers. You know what I'm saying? It does something for the development. I think that the boxers in America have suffered a lot in the development space, especially the black boxers. You know what I'm saying? Specific, because the Mexicans have that fan base that's going to hold them accountable. They're not going to let them give. You saw how Virgil Ortiz acted in the face of adversity. His reaction was to fight like a dog. You know what I mean? Go for it. Those shots. When it looked like he went down, he made sure it didn't look like he went down. Even though, you know what I'm saying? He got right up. Because he knows that Mexican fan base is going to hold him accountable, and he's not allowed to move that way. Right. But it seems like the slick black fighter has become overwhelmed or overconsumed with the idea of, looking pretty in there and going for the knockout and, not being fundamentally sound to the point to where they downgrade people like Shakur Stevenson, right? They talk crap to him. All he's doing is being a fundamentally sound boxer. You know what I mean? Defensively responsible. I mean, he can be not exciting at times, but at the end of the day, that style of boxing just doesn't get any love anymore. They want to see that Tank Davis approach. They want to see that aggressive approach, and they want to see if they're starting to make these younger fighters feel like that's the only way to be successful in the space. You know what I mean? It's a look like that. Turkey can change that a lot by putting these guys in front of the right competition. And the right competition gonna get you where you need to be. Look at Jaron Anderson. Like I'll use him as an example again. And I'll continue using because he's one of those guys who, in my opinion, was too focused on being pretty and too focused on, you know what I'm saying, going for the knockout. And he got pieced up, you know what I mean? Because he was fundamentally weak. It's easy.
Exactly.
He didn't have that. He didn't have that put in, embedded in his game, and now he knows he has to. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's too much matchmaking going on in boxing. Tank is the face, supposed to be one of the faces of boxing, and we still hit Coach Calvin trying to find the right matchup for him. Right. You know, to me that's just a red flag for me. That's really a red flag. And without going too deep, because I understand, you know, the PBC like to use this name recognition, but when actually you just see clever matchmaking going on. If you really go back and look at Spence, you will kind of see he only had faced 2 southpaws. That's not by accident. They didn't put him in there with southpaw. Another thing is, if you really look at who he beat a Mikey Garcia that was so-called daring to be great.
Right.
He beat Cale Brook, who had just got beaten up and got his orbital bone broke by Golovkin. Exactly. He beat a flat-footed Danny Garcia who ducked Crawford twice at 140. Right. You know, Ugas just happened to get in there because he beat Pacquiao, but it didn't even matter if he would have fought Ugas or Pacquiao. It's an old Pacquiao or it's a flat-footed Ugas, and which means Sean Porter was his toughest fight, and Errol Spence won a split decision. So that means even with the knockdown, one judge said Sean Porter won that fight. So Errol Spence might have name recognition, but he hadn't fought the best competition. And that's why so many people surprised when they thought Crawford hadn't faced the best competition, which I had telling people Top Rank is a different league. It's tougher. Because it's free on free TV, they fight more. They getting more fights. They fighting more often, so they are tougher fighters. Top Rank have always had the best fighters, so they might not be the most popular or get paid the most, but they fight more and they're more sound fighters. Whereas PBC is more so putting on a show. So yeah, the Tank show is good, but it has to be set up. It's a reason why they not put him in there with Devin. Well, you can't put the Tank show on if you put him in there where he really, really got to fight. You need a guy that's gonna stand there and get knocked out in order to put that show on. And this is dumbing down the fight because everybody not gonna have Floyd Mayweather. One other thing, I heard y'all talking about Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson, not really putting themselves out there. And what I would push back to say this: what did Gervonta do to put himself out there? Gervonta didn't talk. He just started talking last year. Gervonta Davis had Floyd Mayweather. He had a good promoter, a guy who could use his own accolades and his effects on the culture to push Tank. Now, Tank did what he did in the ring. Don't get me wrong, but Tank never had to talk. Even right now, we know who Carmel Moulton is because of Floyd. And Floyd is not letting Carmel Moulton doing a whole lot of talking. Well, at Top Rank, Crawford and Shakur, they don't have that. They don't have that mouthpiece where they can really focus on their craft and have that mouthpiece talk for them. We looking for them to talk for themselves. Tank did a lot of getting locked up. He did a lot of stuff that helped him actually with the culture. But it was bad stuff. You can't go around and say, hey, Crawford, go get locked up a couple times so we can get your profile bigger. You can't tell Shakur to go. They're already in some sketchy situations as it is. Even the fact that Bud got shot in the head, to me, I thought they would play that up more, but they don't really mention that much, that he got shot in the head and drove himself to a hospital. He has a story, but Bud is about his craft, man. We think a guy could be very, very, very good and be the most charismatic person in the world. That's not always going to come in the same package. We either got to have the best fight in the world, and I think that should be the focus, having the best fight in the world, and right now we got people trying to be actors / boxers / rappers, You know, even Jared Anderson, you know, he was talking about pulling guns on Devin Haney and getting in high speed chases. How you gonna be the best at your craft if that's what you're doing? You know, outside of doing your craft.
No, Too Rich, you talking that gospel right now, man. And this is what I stand on. I mean, what you're saying right now, I talk like this all day long. You know what I'm saying? I literally, Ray, I talk to Ray for a large portion of the day. He'll tell you this is what I preach, man. Like, we get things misconstrued. The activity, just look at how Top Rank's handling Abdullah Mason right now. He's got to be on his 6th fight. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
They are making sure he's getting those looks. They're keeping him active, and he's going to be a better fighter because of it. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a better fighter because of it. I said it about Virgil and Boacek. Listen, Virgil needed that fight, bro. He was in need of a fight like that. He's going to walk away. He walked out the winner in that fight, not just because of the judges giving him the win, but he walked out the winner because he was able to walk away with the win. But those rounds are priceless. Those rounds that he got in gave him and Robert Garcia the insight that they needed to be like, we need to work on some things. We need to get you right. We can't let this happen again. They wouldn't have done that if you would have stopped Boacek in 2 rounds. They'd have been like, if it ain't broke, I'll fix it. You know what I'm saying? That's how these trainers think. The same thing with Jaron Anderson. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Look at Deontay Wilder. Lack of development. This guy just did not develop into the heavyweight division because he didn't need to. He had that right hand. The matchmaking was done properly for him where he was fighting against, he was going to be successful against. And you saw when he finally got in the ring with somebody who could box like Joseph Parker, he slowed the fight down, kept it mid-range, took advantage of what Wilder could not deal with, which is make him into a boxer, had him looking crazy in the ring. And then Zhang stopped him, right? So there's a lack of development going on in the boxing space, and it's because of what people are used to. I try my best not to knock the PBC. I'm really not trying to knock the PBC. You're gonna see me talking right now, and there he goes again. I'm not knocking the PBC. Like, I am to a degree, but I also respect the PBC, and I would like the PBC to be successful. I would just like them to approach the boxing game a little differently and invest more in the development of their fighters. I would like them to have their fighters way more active and invest in them becoming better fighters, because too many times you see this matchmaking happening. You guys are matching them up to be like these knockout artists, or they over dominating people. And you guys don't like us to call them tomato cans. You don't like us to call out what it is. But as soon as they get in the ring with somebody else, I mean, look what happened with Isak and Ryo.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at it, like, you know what I'm saying? This is not surprising. People think it's surprising. It's not. When I sit here for 2 weeks straight preaching that Jaron Anderson's about to get pieced up by Martin McCauley, it's not to throw shots at Jaron Anderson. It's to let you know I've been seeing holes in his game for a minute now, and he hasn't been getting better. And Martin McCauley's a disciplined boxer who has great sparring experience. He's been fighting the best in sparring sessions and giving him war. He's fought Usyk. He's fought Tyson Fury. He's fought Anthony Johnson. He's fought Daniel Dubois. He's fought all these guys. He's sparred all these guys, bro. He's bringing pedigree into the ring that Jaron Anderson just hasn't developed. And he's cocky and smiling and doing, like you said, all the outside antics he's doing. Good about his life. He's not living a boxer's lifestyle. It's gonna come back and bite you. In the biggest shows, on the biggest stages of your life, these things are gonna come back and bite you. And you brought up Errol Spence. I was saying the same thing about Errol, and I caught hell for this. I literally caught hell for this, bro. People were like, "Oh, you hating?" I'm not hating. I'm just letting you know, bro. Terrence Crawford is committed. He's not drinking. He's not smoking. He's taking care of his family. He's keeping himself in the right mind state. His team is on the same page as him. Errol look what the relationship that him and Derek end up having that people thought was all. Look at what was going into that fight. Derek was just consumed with the idea that Errol was just going to continue to put the pressure on him, be stronger than him, and no matter how good Terrence was. No, bro. That's not the way it works. Have you been working on him? Look at the adjustments that were made in that fight. As when he got knocked down in that second round, there were no adjustments made until he finally got stopped. He was doing the same damn thing. That shows he's been doing in the camp. You feel me?
Yeah.
You're gonna go in the ring with the pound for pound best fighter in the world. You don't have a plan B. You should be walking in there with a plan P, a B, C, and D. Because You gotta know fighting against somebody like Terrence Crawford that your plan A might not work, bro. But that's getting caught up in the hype of the momentum of getting it your way, being protected, being given the right fights. And then you got these fighters like, shout out to Tank Davis, but he'll say it in 2 seconds, right? I don't call out fighters. I just fight whoever they put in front of me. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
sure. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you like this. The fight you've been getting is the reason why I don't know if you'll beat Shakur. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely don't know.
Right. I think you will. I'm like, all right, man, I'm leaning towards you, but I'm not convinced to the point to where I'm willing to sit here and say Shakur can't beat you, because Shakur is surrounded by greatness. People who ain't gonna let him sit there. You don't see Shakur in the club popping bottles and doing that. He's trying to live a box lifestyle. You know he wants to, but it's gonna look funny doing that with Terrence Crawford looking at you funny, with Andre Ward looking at you funny. You know what I'm saying? With that him looking at funny, he's gonna stay disciplined and stay in that gym, and he's getting better. No matter what you guys want to think, he's getting better. He's getting better and better and better. And the more time Shakur spends outside of this fight, like if he types Zepeda next, he's gonna get better after this fight, bro. Zepeda gonna make better, bro. I don't know. It is what it is. I don't want to rant, because you know, ranting session that I'm getting out right now. But the best fighting the best is so important, guys. It just really is. It's not just important just for the fans, us as fans seeing it, but the development of these fighters are on the line when these guys aren't facing the right competition, when they're not getting the right dancing partners, they're not getting better. And then you put them in front of that one right dude and you're calling upset. It's not an upset. It was an inevitable ending coming. Inevitably, it was going to come because this guy ain't getting better. You know what I'm saying?
I really think, I always tell people, hey, if you want to bet on a fight, put your money on the favorite, but at the same time, I really feel like Shakur versus Tank is going to look like Rayo versus Pitbull. Yeah, Tank is better than Pitbull. He's going to set up his shots better, but Shakur is better than Rayo. And I just think it could definitely look like that fight. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think it is. But, the last thing before I get out of here is, I'm going to tell you what gave the game away for me. After Tank fought Ryan, and whatever that next fight that Devin fought, I don't know if y'all ever seen that clip where they back in, I'm assuming, like going to the locker room and Floyd Mayweather's back there. And he says to Devin, he said, look, you could be over here making this easy money on pay-per-view fighting Ryan Garcia instead of fighting those hard fights on free TV. That's what Floyd said. That's all you need to know right there. Those pay-per-view fights are shows. They're not intended to be. That's why Floyd bragged about being able to pick and choose his opponent. Where he grandfathered Tank in from day one, picking all his opponents. Where if he could pick them, he can create the show. And it's not an accident that if you really look up the PBC, it's classified as a television series. The irony of that. I know it's about the League of Ease, but that's in a nutshell, it's a show. It's more of a show. So they're gonna make money. They're gonna make some money, but they're not gonna produce the best fighters. Look how many fighters are left now just from inactivity. You got to hone your craft. I mean, you got to do it. You got to have repetition. You got to do it over and over and over again. These fighters are fighting once a year, if that.
Right. Yeah. Can I touch on something that you guys talk about? Because I know you're talking about, and I want to know. I want to put recognition on the fight that just happened from a PBC fighter that crossed the street, and found out the hard way that the PBC does. Like you said, they get easier fights over there. When we just had Sabril Matias go over from left PBC and went over to Matchroom. And he fought a Liam Paro, and everybody thought Matias was this guy, and he's unstoppable, and just showed that somebody from another fighter from another region totally outboxed him and showed him what it really was like to be in the ring, and it surprised him. So, to your point right there, it shows you that. It shows you are getting outboxed and outpointed. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't one of the brothers on that card too? Quan on the card? That was the same night. No, it was just the same night, right?
Wait.
Antoine Russell.
Yeah, Antoine. Which card?
On that card with Matias. That was on a different card, right?
That was a different card. That was a different card.
I was gonna say that was a different card, but the same thing happened. I remember
Yeah,
just
exactly.
at the same time. That was crazy.
Inactivity, man. They're not fighting. They don't have that free network where they can get the work in. PBC got 200 fighters, and they're not fighting. They're not fighting what good is. You remember the white guy? I seen a post today about he hadn't fought in 466 days. It was a white boy that were real good. I seen him fight, but I ain't seen him fight in a while. But anyway, they're just inactivity, man. But when they create the show, they're gonna put on this Canelo Berlanga tomato can card, and maybe it'll make some money. But it's the worst. It's literally the worst card. Although I'm 150% behind Berlanga, and I hope Berlanga knock him out. It's really not it's a matchmake. It's just them matchmaking.
And also, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
I was gonna say I just heard also that
the cherry pick, right?
They're also putting on their first free card again for a second time. They're making the Tim Tszyu card a free card because I guess the wasn't great the first time, or they just wanted to have a better fight for a free card, which I think is stupid. I think that fight should have actually been on the card with Canelo. That might have been boosting up the numbers as opposed to having Danny Garcia as your co-main especially when you have Caleb Plant there. Caleb Plant should have had his own card. I think it's time to show that guy some respect, especially that guy been in there with two of your top fighters and proven himself to be an IBF champion for so long. There's no respect there for that guy. Same thing with Stevie Fulton. Long time a member of that team. Got exposed. Got exposed by another fighter from another region of the world. And then what happens? They kept him shelved for almost a year. Actually, over a year. And now this guy's finally getting a chance to fight, and we don't even know what it looks like in a new division with a tough opponent. It's crazy. It's like you put him in the ring with somebody that he could possibly lose to now, which is not an easy fight. What's up, Drew? What's up? Round one. Ryan in the building. So, oh no, that's not Ryan. That's round one. My bad. I thought that was Ryan in the North. But okay. But yeah, man, we gotta understand that. Edwin. We gotta understand that it's not a knock on the PBC. It's a knock on putting the fighters in the ring. These guys are not getting the fights they want, and when they do, these are the guys that they send across the street that they don't really care for, and they're like, "Hey, you're going to make $15,000, you're going to make $20,000 on these fights," instead of having these guys, on their cards and developing them, like you're saying, like Top Rank develops all their guys. So you're just letting your guy go over there to get beat up on, just because you don't see any interest in this guy, you don't see him making a name, and that becomes a problem. Oh man, he jumped off. I wanted to respond to that, but it's cool.
Yeah. Nah, man, you're hitting on some real points, man. And I love these conversations, man, because these are the conversations that help move the needle in boxing, bro. And for the fan base, for the people who are tapping in, who aren't, they're not here regularly, or I know you guys, there's a lot of channels out there, but listen, man, there's boxing and there's everything else, man, and everything else is the show. It's the excitement, the drama, all these fighters that you guys supporting, getting the work that these guys need. Do you see these guys being active? It's important, bro. It's important because these fighters are getting exposed, and I think one of the biggest fears coming out of what you're doing right now is that exposure. Is that exposing? That exposing is coming. That exposing is on its way, because if these guys aren't getting better and they're not being developed, listen, man, they're gonna get exposed. And like Turkey said to Canelo, of course you're not gonna like my business, because my business involves putting you in front of the best fighters in the world, bro. Putting you in front of people who could possibly beat you. I know you don't like it because you're too used to the style of the business model that's been built around you, which is cherry picking and giving you the fights that put you in the best position to entertain the crowd. You know what I mean? And listen, boxing is about entertainment as well. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to sit here and play like I don't understand that concept of how important it is to entertain. But boxing fans will be entertained with boxing. You know what I'm saying? If you're not satisfied with what boxing fans like, then you start to get the Jake Paul lane. To get into these other lanes where You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul's just cherry picking MMA fighters who can't box and just knocking them out inside the first 2 or 3 rounds and got the crowd going crazy. Boxing fans ain't necessarily entertained by that. Right. Where are we going with it? You know what I mean? You guys are thinking about Turkey being the biggest threat to boxing. No, bro, this mentality that we're highlighting right now, in my opinion, is the biggest threat to boxing and has been the biggest threat to boxing for years. This mentality of matchmaking with protecting fighters and keeping them in a bubble and having them fighting certain fighters, that's the most dangerous thing to boxing. That's the most dangerous thing, not Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Not another country potentially taking the sport or whatever you think is going to happen, or sports washing, or, you know what I mean? I don't, you know, all the things that I hear going on out here. That's not the biggest threat to boxing, guys. Matter of fact, right now, that's the biggest hope for boxing right now, is what Turkey's doing. That's the biggest hope. The threat is you guys being desensitized and getting used to fighting, to seeing your favorite fighters fight tomato cans and knock them out, and sitting here chopping each other's heads off every single day on different channels in the chat room, talking about how this fighter ain't this and that. Come on, bro.
I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna say we got the casual committee out there preaching to their minions, telling everybody how their favorite fighter and is the greatest in the world, and don't worry about and beating down all the other opponents or potential opponents in the networks in Turkey al-Sheikh trying to fix boxing. Because they don't want to get on board, or they don't see themselves getting on board. And then they go, well, they had PBC fighters over there and this and that. I'm like, it doesn't matter who they had over there. It's the fact that you keep not kicking anybody back in because you want to keep building up something that's a graveyard. I hate to say it like that, but it's exactly what it is. If you don't want to call it a graveyard, I'll call it a shipyard, whatever you want to call it. People they ain't moving. And every once in a while, they'll sail the ship out to sea and let it go out there to keep the motor gears moving in the boat, right? And then they bring it back and they park it again. Unfortunately, that's what's happening, where everybody else is just steady moving, steady making fights. We already talked about this, Clay, not even too long ago. We said, how many fighters this year have they put on cards? I said, it's the same 6 fighters that are headlining these cards, right? Same 6 fighters that are fighting. What happened to the rest of the people on their network or their stable? It's some truth to that. Like, right, we already seen Tanky about to have another fight this year. We seen Canelo, he's on his next fight. We seen Tim Tszyu, he's on his next fight. So where are the other fighters at? Where are all these other fighters that's supposed to Pitbull? He had 2 fights. So at the end of the day, we're not seeing a rotation of fighters just being active. And that's what happens in activity.
And not only are we not seeing them being active, what you guys have to understand that when you're looking at that, what you're seeing is just picture fighters digressing.
Right.
Picture fighters not being developed. Understand what's happening, right? It's not just seeing them be active. You know, from a fan's point of view, that's probably the main thing that we're going to say, right? But from the fighter's point of view, you got a lot of fighters with potential that's being wasted. And when they finally get a chance to get in the ring, like, shout out to Gary Antoine Russell, another high-level boxer, in my opinion. But you saw how that ring rust affected him against Alberto Buello. You saw him get inside of that fight, and you saw him suffer from it, bro. And he's way better than what you saw that night. He's way better. Sitting at home, with that guy from another country, feeding his family, looking at this opportunity for what it is, like my guy Too Rich said, who's hungry and is there to represent and is not going to lay down. You get issues.
Right.
Hey.
Go ahead, Too Rich.
Yeah, Too Rich.
You know, that would actually be a good fight for Boots. Pull Gary Antoine Russell. You know, Gary Antoine Russell was the last one to beat Boots. Mm-hmm. And that would be a good fight for Boots, I think. A good challenge. He's a little bit smaller, but he done beat Boots before, so I think that would be a good fight. But look, this was good chat, man. I got to get back in here. I'll be listening in on the conversation.
Right.
Okay.
Participate, man. Let me tell you too. What he just said about Boots, I like that. The only situation I see here is that Antoine Russell don't use his jab anymore, man. He got away from the jab, and all you just see Antoine Russell doing is just throwing hooks and haymakers. And you can't win fights all the time like that. You can't just keep going for knockouts. You got to establish some type of boxing ability in the ring to keep your opponent guessing, not letting them know what's coming. Once the right hand knows what the left hand is doing, it's a wrap. You're not going to be able to do anything with that, and that's why we see him take a loss to Puello, because he fights only one way, and then he has been out of the ring for so long. He stopped using it. He stopped using the basic boxing ability. Everybody wants to be this fancy fighter or this knockout artist or things that just bring the fans into the building instead of just being a boxer, which I tribute Devin Haney. I tribute Shakur Stevenson. I tribute other fighters and Bud Crawford. I attribute them for the ability of doing that, keeping boxing alive, because a lot of these fighters are getting away from that because they believe that which it is exciting to see knockouts and boxes, fights in the middle of the ring and things of that nature. But we have to understand, boxing is the sport, and boxing is the key. Boxing wins the fights. So we also have to utilize that those things also work, and we have to get back to that, man.
100%. 100%. Listen, it's a war. It's a war outside. It's definitely two sides of the game right now in boxing, and we only can hope that boxing prevails, that boxing wins, because there's this casual energy. You know what I'm saying? And it's being exposed even more and more, even with the whole, not to highlight it, but the hell with it, even with the Ryan Garcia situation. You know what I'm saying? It just exposed a big casual energy in the space. You know what I mean? People who are just like, I don't give a damn what he did. If he used drugs, he used all these different things. He did this, and that's all I care about. You know what I mean? Ryan was a fighter who, I believe in the beginning of his career, who was way more focused on his skill set as a boxer, who was way more passionate about being a boxer. But, I kind of credit the game for being the way the game is, for him kind of selling himself out and kind of going to the dark side of what boxing is today and trying to overindulge in that a little bit, you know what I mean, and kind of digress in the spirit of that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like in the beginning, Ryan Garcia seemed like he seemed to be a way more promising fighter in the beginning of his career than he does today. Today, it looks like he's given completely into the antic side of the game. He's just given up, and he's just completely committed to the antic side of the game. You know what I mean? This man came in with a very decorated amateur career, was right there in the same conversations with the Devin Haneys and the Tank Davises and the Shakur Stevensons, and it seemed like he kind of let that go and went in a different direction, and based on the idea of, I'm trying to sell these fights and I'm trying to beat pay-per-view. I'm trying to beat pay-per-view records and beat, you know what I'm saying, the stadium getting filled up. He just started to sell out a little bit, and I think he suffered for it in the long run. I think he has, even if it doesn't look like he has, if it looks like he still is popular and everybody wants to give him, that's cool. But I just think in the long run, he would have been a better fighter and in a better position if he didn't tap into this energy that he's in right now.
Right. And the crazy thing is, he didn't have the problem of not being active. He could have been active. He chose not to be active. He chose to go sit out and take a hiatus from mental health. Whether it's true or not, I hope it is, because I wish him the best on that situation. But he chose to do that. He chose to not participate in certain activities and fights and start cherry picking fights, and then start chasing the money, which in turn led him to fighting once a year. These things like this, again, created that monster that we've seen. Unfortunately, it is what it is. He's not the only one. I mean, there's other fighters too, Clay, that do the same thing. I mean, we have to blame the and I'm not saying the fighters. We have to blame the casual committee out there who's leading the charge with all the fans of boxing, that they're telling and painting narratives to the fans, and they hear these channels, they hear these people saying these things, and when they hear them say these things, the things that they're saying, let me clarify that. When I hear them saying the things that they're saying and making the quotes they have and committing and making these people do things that they don't want to do, and they say, oh, well, if I do this, we're going to get talked about on this channel and we're going to get exposure. If I do this, I can go do this. Ryan's case, on the other hand, was I don't have to do that. I'm just going to go out and just do some YouTube videos and compete with Jake Paul. He's got a big casual fan base. So I'm going to go over there and do that. And then when I bring my fan base in, we're going to make numbers. We're going to make money. It's all about the money, bro, and it's changing. It's changing the way boxing is. And then when you got the real fighters that get in that ring, the people that do care about what's legacy and what's boxing really about is the championships, it becomes a problem. And then everybody, those people are the bad people. Those people are the guys that can't sell. Those are the people that, we don't like and we talk bad about every day. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It's a marathon. It's not a race. And shout out to the ATP Combat Media Show. I like to believe that we're part of the Keeping Boxing Alive conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what ends up happening. Let me ask you a question though. Like going back to boxing and to kind of getting off the soapbox and preaching about how boxing is losing its way and all those things. I mean, that's great and everything. It's not great, but I mean, we just get into. We're passionate about this conversation. Clearly, we have it so many times. We talk about this all the time because we're passionate about the sport. But 168 right now, putting perspective on 168, just coming full circle right now. Christian and Billy going into this weekend is, this is a 168 fight, and puts him in position to be in the conversations with his next fight after this fight. Assuming he wins this fight, I expect a big fight from him. You know what I mean? Maybe a Jaime Munguia next. Maybe a let's look at the division. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Let's look at the division because although Canelo's sitting there housing those belts, there's still some fights in there that are there to be made. And who is the number one guy at 168? Now that David Benavidez is no longer there, David Morrell is no longer there. I just don't believe Berlanga is the next best one after Canelo Alvarez. Who's the best 168 pounder in the game right now?
I told you. I think it's our boy Jaime Munguia. I think Jaime Munguia has proved this, especially in his last fight, moving up for 160, winning the fights, giving us a show with Canelo. Yes, he got sat on his pockets. It is what it is. He got back up, still put on a hell of a show, and showed the world something. I see as far as in Billy, I think that in Billy's, like I said, another two. There's a couple more fighters we can put in that category. But then I think once you get down the line, you get the guys like David Pacheco, who I think they're pushing way too fast. And I think he's going to be a fighter that's going to run into in Billy next. I think they're ranked like 1 and 2 and 1 and 3 all across the section of bodies. So I think they somehow meet in the middle of the ring, and that becomes the fight that we see. That becomes that separates them. And he's young. He's a guy at a prospect too. So that's going to be a tough fight for him. I would actually prefer Diego Pacheco to fight somebody like a Berlanga, or maybe took a shot at Munguia. I think that would be a better fight for them. But I see him fighting and Billy as the next fight. I think they both kind of get in the ring and they settle the score and they become the number one fighter in the division and maybe next up for Canelo.
You see, Texas 16 says Pacheco can fight, but not a superstar, not near active enough. Yeah, Pacheco does need. I agree with you, Texas. He needs to get a little more active, man. And I'm hoping that. Listen, man, I'm hoping that this might be officially a damn turkey channel. I don't know, because it feels like it's hard for me not to involve him in these conversations, right? Because of what he's doing. And when you hear somebody like what Texas 16 just said right there, bro, that's a fact, man. He's not active enough, and that's what you hope that that Turkey's bringing to the game. That bringing these promotional companies together puts him in position to get these fighters way more active. Because Pacheco is somebody who can be way better. Yeah, she said, yeah, Too Rich said Turkey gang. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say how much I support what this guy's doing, man, and how much vision I appreciate that he has for the sport and what he's doing, man. You just gotta respect it, right? Somebody like Pacheco, somebody who has a lot of potential, man. He has potential to be a great fighter. He does, man. But if he's fighting once every 8 months, you know what I'm saying? He's fighting once a year, pretty much. Where this guy's gonna huh?
There's a fight coming up.
Yeah, he has a fight coming up. He just had a fight actually about what was it, like 3 months ago, 4 months ago?
Yeah,
4 months ago. So keeping him active is important, but we have to acknowledge that it's going to take these promotional companies working together to get these fighters active. Period. Trying to hold them until a fight opens up for some fight that you have under your banner, some fighter that you have in your stable is just unhealthy for the sport. It's unhealthy for the sport, and in hindsight says it's unhealthy for the sport, not the future. You know, somebody might want to say, you can't predict the future. You don't know what. I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about the recent past. Look what's happened to the sport. Be honest with yourself. Look what's happened to the sport. Look at how these fighters, and even Roy, you know, listen, bro. A lot of fighters try to stay outside of this conversation because they don't want to make smoke with promotional companies, like Roy Jones, for example. But he had to acknowledge the Olympics this year. He had to acknowledge it and be like, bro, it's clear as day that we're digressing in the sport. It's clear as day that we're no longer leading the march in this sport anymore when we used to. You can't deny it anymore, bro. Right. Denying is just foolish. You just don't know no better. Something's wrong with you. You just don't know no better, bro. We don't run it no more. We're not the top of the game no more. We're not. And we're getting worse and worse and worse. Why? Because look at the activity. Look at the nonsense we're going through here. You know what I mean? So shout out to Diego Pacheco. I hope that he does get more active, because I think he is one of those guys that I'm looking forward to help 168 be where it needs to be once the Canelo Alvarez situation is ironed out and there's some understanding. You know what I'm saying, with that guy, whether or not they're going to stop him or he retires or whatever he might be thinking about doing.
And I did forget the most exciting and probably the toughest fighter in that division, Caleb Plant. Put him on that list. He can shake the division up too. He's not afraid to slap a person. So you know what I mean. He's not afraid to put his pin pan out and throw some baby powder on it. You know what I mean. So it's cool. So yeah, he can actually do something in that division too, and keep him in the top 5 of that division, because hey, round robin and Canelo again. I think Canelo gonna get upset, and this is going to change the dynamics of that division. Canelo moves up to 175, and then he tries to fight for those light heavyweight titles, getting away.
You talking about that Berlanga fight as far as the upset right now?
Yep.
Yeah, man. See, I'm happy to hear you talking like that, because we need it. Listen, bro. Edgar needs to win that fight, man. And it's not that I have all the faith in him. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna keep it 100, man. You know what I mean? I'm not there. I don't know if you know what I mean? I'm leaning towards Canelo at the end of the day. But somebody needs to dethrone him, man. He's not. Oh man, people ain't gonna want to hear me talk this talk, bro. His mentality is not good for boxing, bro. It's not. The way he's carrying it ain't good for boxing. Canelo used to be good for boxing, but now I can do what I want to do. You know what I mean? I've earned it. I fight who I want to fight. I don't like, you know what I mean? It's like
all those guys from that era, Clay. All them guys from the era did the same thing. All of them.
I hear you, but
Thurman held on to the belts. Bud held on to the belts. Earl held on to the belts. They all did it. You know what I mean? It's just like something with that era. Like they just, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just gonna stop talking to. Go ahead.
No, I hear where you're coming from. I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm just saying in that it's kind of like, I don't want to get political, but just to say that things that we could tolerate 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when the country was in a better space, is different than today. Yeah, because people could say this is not the first time we've had this, that, and the other, whatever. This is not a time period where we can deal with negligence. And we need some thoroughness in the political space of this country right now. And we got to make your next choice the best choice, because it might be your last choice before some crazy consequences. You know what I'm saying? So
we see which way boxing is going. Boxing is actually on the uprise. Believe it or not, it looked like it was dying for a minute, and it's on the uprise. And we're starting to get some stars in the sport, some young stars. So make room, because these guys look like they're ready to fight. They look like they want to be in that ring, and they look like they want championships, and they're willing to do what it takes. So,
right,
it's about to change for the better. And I do thank Jake Paul for that, by the way, for making it commercial across the globe. Him and Floyd with the what's the name fights, exhibitions.
Now, we also got a fight coming up on the 21st right now. We got Jared Hurd and Rosario coming up. I think that's going to be a great fight as well, man.
Go for it.
Yeah. What did he say? What did he say?
I'm good. I'm going to watch it, but I said I'm good.
You don't care about Jared Hurd and Rosario? You don't think that's going to be a good fight? Jared Hurd throws hands, bro.
Yeah, he does, but he's just not the same, bro. He's not the same. And I'm mad that he never got that fight with Charlo, because that was supposed to be the battle. Once he got dropped, bro, it was over. He's supposed to be that 1-2. You know what I mean? He got beat up by I just forgot his name.
Who, Jarrett?
Yeah, he got beat up by Tony Harrison, right?
No, not Tony Harrison.
What was his name? He beat up Tony Harrison.
You talking about that damn near? It was a damn near an exhibition fight.
Pretty much.
That fight. He was supposed to win that fight, and he went left on him. It wasn't Tony Harrison.
Right. And that messed up his whole plans for that Charlo fight. Messed everything up. So.
Right. I think styles make fights, and I think a Jarrett Hurd and a Rosario, I can't remember what his first name is. I think that's a great stylistic fight. I think both those guys can deliver a good. I'm talking about a good fight to watch. I'm talking about good on the eyes, a good competitive fight. I think that's what it's going to be, and I think somebody's probably going to get knocked out in that fight. I don't see that going 12. You know what I mean? And then you got Inoue getting ready to do his little tune-up on the 3rd, right? He's about to do his little tune-up, and I would think once again it's like Terrence Crawford said, it's a fight you don't think are going to be the hard ones that are the hard ones, and the ones that you think are going to be easy becoming, you know what I mean? The ones that's supposed to be hard, become easy.
Right.
Styles make fights, man. Styles make fight. Boxing's alive, man, guys. We gotta be on point with that. You think Tim Tszyu and I want to know what I can't lie. The nosiness in me wants to know what the hell's going on between Tim Tszyu and Turkey. I really want to get the bottom line of what's up in there, man. Like what happened?
I was gonna break this down to you the other day. I didn't get a chance to. So let me break it down real quick. So you remember he was on the card with the fight on that card. They had to move Anderson on the card because he was supposed to be the co-main.
Him and Virgil was supposed to be on the card.
So then he burnt that bridge there, right? He didn't make he somehow pulled out the fight, and next thing you know, they make another opportunity to make this fight happen, right? Afterward, which the fight that just happened last week, that was supposed to be him, right? And instead, I heard he didn't even respond this time. Like before, he just was like, "No, I'm not." He pulled himself off the card when he was willing to do it, because wasn't he at the press conference? Right? Everything he's supposed to do, and for some reason, he pulled himself out the card, and then he's supposed to fight again, which he agreed to. So now he agreed to 2 fights, and then no-showed again, and it was like, "Yo, I can't deal with this dude." But again, on Tim Tszyu's record is saying that he wants to work with him, but it's something with the team. So is it the fact that the PBC got in the way of him fighting? You know what I mean? They didn't want that fight to happen, and they caused a lot of problems for him. And now he's the one that signed up for it, and because he works over there in Australia, now he's becoming a problem. Or is it that Tim Tszyu just doesn't want to? He didn't want to fight Virgil. It's one of the two.
Listen, man, you tapping into something that really makes sense. You know me, I love to connect the dots. I like it to make sense, and I think what you're talking about is like part of it, a big part of it. I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think that it's a big combination of it because whenever Tim Tszyu fights the United States, it's a PBC affair. It's PBC business happening on U.S. soil, right? But another part of it would say, well, all right, well, look, they put David Morrell on the card. They put Isak Cruz on the card. They put Rayo Valenzuela on the card. So why would they be so resistant to Tim Tszyu being on the card? You think naturally they would allow him to be. Now, here's the
story.
Right. Here's a part that of the conversation with No Limit, right? With his management, to where they're also going to be involved in the conversation. And what are their opinions on it, right? Because they want to do business with Turkey, right? But are they wanting to do business with Turkey and maybe supersede the relationship with PBC to a degree and be like, listen, man, I don't want PBC involved in the conversation. We don't need the PBC for this part of the conversation. This is a Riyadh season card. This is not a PBC card. You know what I'm saying? Yes, if we're going to do a fight on a PBC card, it's PBC business. But if we're going to do a fight on Top Rank's card or do a fight on Matchroom's card, why do we need to do? That's just an extra hand in the pot that doesn't need to be there. So now PBC is like, yeah, but we have an agreement and understanding that this is how it's going to work. So now there's a confusion there. And ultimately, Tim Tszyu has to pull out of the fight because at the end of the day, the management is probably advising, like, listen, until we get this ironed out, we're not going to get involved with this Riyadh season conversation. Turkey gets the dirty end of the stick, right? Gets the shitty end of the deal, and he's like, I'm not liking the way you played with me at all. I don't give a damn what you got going on with the BBC. Me and your team already agreed, put together a fight between you and Virgil. twice, and you're sitting here trying to give me some excuse. And now I've lost Virgil. I've lost the opportunity to have Virgil on my card. Now Virgil's back on a Golden Boy card fighting for free. And now I got to replace it with Jaron Ennis. I got to put him against Martin Bacoli because I got to give the fan base an exciting fight. But we all know Martin Bacoli's beyond an exciting fight. He's the damn Terminator, right? He's the machine. So Jaron Anderson, a fighter that Turki Al-Sheikh has interest in, right, building him up, is going to be in a fight to where there's a high probable chance he's going to lose the fight, right? And then you come to the damn Oscar De La Hoya event, and your forehead looks straight healed. You look like like at the end of the day, you're trying to play with me. And I could see Turki being like, I don't want to even deal with this dude no more because I can't depend on him to hold up his side of the contract. He doesn't have a control over his career. Now, Tim Tszyu might not be the person who's actually doing all this stuff, but his management looks like they're mismanaging him right now. And they're trying to have a lot of control on the situation. And they may have steered him in the wrong direction a little bit and made it to where he's become he's become a leopard to Turki. Like, I don't want to touch you, bro. You got to get your, and that's what I keep saying when he doesn't talk English that well, but when he said they're in the way or let him be in the way, I feel like he was saying, I feel like that message was directed to his management. Like, yo, your management is in the way. Maybe PBC's in the way. You have too many untied T's that aren't crossed and I's that aren't dotted, and it makes it difficult to do business with you. It's not gonna. What do you think? I mean, I'm ranting. What do you think?
You're 100% exactly on the point that I'm on, and it makes all the sense in the world because, like I said, he had 2 fights on there. He canceled both of them. He's telling everybody he wants to work with Turki. He has to talk to his team. And then something happened between his team, PBC, and him not being able to fight. Those cards are hard to make. You know what I mean? The matchmaking is hard to make. So now you have to make 2 different fights. Mm-hmm. Then the fact that you had to give Golden Boy, even though you stepped on the card with him, you had to give Golden Boy, you know what I mean, some of that purse.
Ron Jones for the cat. What you mean, Cap, Laurent? What are you talking about right now?
What? We're talking about the PBC, but we're not. We're talking about what happened with Anyway, I ain't gotta explain myself. Everybody else knows what's going
on. Right. He just heard PBC in a negative light.
No, he always think we dogging him, bro. But I think at that point when he went to
well, not for nothing, but we're actually putting the blame on No Limit. That's what we're actually saying is at fault right now, not the PBC. We're not throwing no shade at the PBC. What we're saying is, No Limit made a deal with the PBC that they were going to function in a certain way. And if No Limit is trying to supersede the relationship with the PBC and try to turn Riyadh's season into something that has nothing to do with their contract, then the PBC has the right, you know what I'm saying, has the right to step in there and be like, no, bro, that's not how that works. When you fight here in America, it's PBC business. When you're here on the soil, it's PBC business. That's what our agreement is. No, Riyadh season's here in LA. This is not in Saudi Arabia. This is Los Angeles, U.S. soil, PBC business. And they may have overpriced themselves and got them out of the situation to where it hurt Tim Tszyu's opportunity. Because Tim Tszyu has made it clear, guys, and I'm sorry to cut you. I'm going to get right back to you, Ray. Tim Tszyu has made the statement already that he wants to make business and get money with Turki. He said it already. So this is not about Tim Tszyu being bold and not being pushed around. No, this has to do with management. This has to do with business, good business, bad business, all those type of things happening. Narratives that's the only time I speak.
Listen, and I'm going to address that because is it narratives or is it basically speculation based on the facts that these things did some of these things did come to part and we're just trying to put the puzzle pieces together. Yeah, it's somewhat narrative because we're guessing, but we're not telling you some spewed story that's crazy. All these people work together and don't work together. The guy was at the freaking presser when they announced the fight. He walked on stage, sat down at the table. So it wasn't like he wasn't there. And next thing you know, he's off the card. That fight was canceled. Then they talked about doing the fight again. The fight the week after that we just had last week. And then that got scrapped. So if we're not crazy. And then Tim Tszyu himself said that he wanted to work with it. You got to talk to his team. Bro, it is what it is, man.
And Tim Tszyu said, not only that, Tim Tszyu said, I don't know what happened with Turki. I got to wait on my team to come back to find out what conversation. And he's letting you know that he's in the dark about why he's not working with Turki. And let me tell you, this is not the first time that this has happened in Tim Tszyu. This also happened in Tim Tszyu with the first event of the year where Tim thought he was in negotiation to fight Terrence Crawford, and come to find out he's fighting Keith Thurman in the last minute. Right. Once again, you know what I'm saying, not being on the same page with his management, not being in the dark about what's going, and then they mismanaged him again, let him get into a fight with Sebastian Fundora, and didn't even get a rematch clause put inside the contract to protect him from what ended up happening to him. So he's been suffering some bad management things here for a minute right now. And once again, this has nothing to do with the PBC. It has something to do with the PBC because, you know, when he's fighting in America, he's a PBC fighter. But I'm once again focusing that energy more so on No Limit and the way they're managing him and the way they're handling it. And I also heard they're kind of like on some dictator shit in Australia. Like they really on some like you can't make it unless you rock with us. Because I heard they're doing the same thing. Zarafa just signed with them, and I heard they're doing the same thing a little bit with Liam Paro a little bit.
And not to be funny, but I'm gonna drop a bar for my boy G.
Fights, Lance. Oh yeah, Lance is just okay. I forgot. I thought it was Laron, you're invited to hit that link though, because I'm definitely interested in your perspective on the narratives that we might be pushing. I'm interested in on getting your perspective on it. So that's why I threw the link up there, by the way, if you're wondering why. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely interested in your perspective on it. You know how we carry it. We're not, you know.
Thank you, Too Rich. That was actually a really good point that you made. Yes, Rachel did say that. A lot of these fighters are only assigned to their hometown management. They're regular promoters.
And the
promotional companies are the people they work with. They have contracts with the promotional companies.
Mm-hmm.
The promotional companies get in the way sometimes, and that's what we're saying. It's been this way for a long time. That's why we had these sides of the streets for so long. That's all we're trying to get at. We're not saying Turkey did. Listen, I'm in the middle with Turkey. I don't jump. Clay tell you, I don't jump on this side or that side. I just know that he's been doing some boxing work here and there. I support the BBC. I support Top Rank. I think Eddie Hearn's doing a great job this year, and I think De La Hoya has probably got the worst fighters on his stable. And that's not saying that he doesn't have good fighters. I'm just saying that at his stable, he only has a few good fighters at his stable where everybody else has a ton of great fighters. So, you know, it's not a knock on him. It's just people don't want to go over there. But at the end of the day, even Floyd Mayweather got a good, decent stable. We got a few fighters. But the fact is, I rock with all these guys, man. Like, at the end of the day, I want to see great fights. But if they're going to be holding themselves up due to risk of losing or risk of competition amongst each other, then they're not doing that but hurting the fans. They're not hurting themselves or the boxers. They're hurting the fans because they're depriving us of great fights, and that's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly, 100%, man. Yeah, it's not about narratives. It's about the relationship between Tim Tszyu and Turkey. That's what the conversation is about. And you know, that's all I can say, right? But
right.
People wanted you just stay off the PBC, right? Just don't talk about it, bro.
Right.
Because
it
is what it is.
Did it not sound like it made sense what I said? As these all things, did all these things happen and not happen? Yes. So therefore, I can speculate on those little things and try to fill in the pieces to the puzzle. Hey, it is what it is. You don't believe it, you don't have to. It's cool. But when it all comes out, and you be like, "Yo, Ray was right," I'm like, "Damn, bro, you owe me. You hope you buy me that Yankee cap that you was talking about."
If I had to pick a side, I'm riding with His Excellency. Man, it is what it is, man. If I have to pick a side, frequent, I'm riding with whoever riding for boxing, and it seems like on the surface level, looking from the outside looking in, it seems like Turkey is the one riding for boxing. It seems like everybody else is riding for personal interest. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know, I'm sure somebody wants to go ahead and be like, "Yeah, but you don't think Turkey's riding for his personal interest?" I think that his personal interest is aligned with boxing's personal interest.
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? What he's doing aligns with what works for boxing. And it just makes sense. He understands that boxing has suffered, and if he can save boxing, he has the opportunity to revive a demographic of fan of boxing that he can take now and bring over to his side, because he sees that America has ignored this demographic. The hardcore boxing fan has been ignored in America. You know what I'm saying? They've been ignored. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna holler at Shorty and be like, "Yo, I heard the man ain't treating you right. He ain't taking you out no more. He ain't doing the things you just clean the house all day now. You cooked in it. He don't do nothing for you. He got you driving around in a little hoopty. He trying to convince you that's the way it is.
On fire, bro.
I'm gonna show you. It's not like that.
He said we cooking, bro.
Who said we cooking?
Lance Meyer. He said we got gasoline. We need it.
It's just being distracting, and he said my girl got that gasoline if y'all need it.
Yeah, we cooking right now. We frying up turkeys, bro. That's what you trying to say.
Yeah, no doubt. I hear him.
Shout out to Lance Meyer, bro.
Shout out to Lance Meyer for sure. But yeah, guys, we've been on for a little minute now. You know what I mean? Talking about there's anything else we missed? Did we miss anything? You know, we always end up missing.
Richard Hitchenson's with the Lipinets fight. I actually dropped a couple of links in the chat. There was some fake breaking news from two different sources. One saying that Devin's going to make a return to fight Pitbull. Another one saying that Devin's going to make a return to fight Conor Benn. Conor Benn said, "Welcome to 147." Or I'm waiting for 147. So there's a couple of things I dropped in there. There's another one of Devin working out, and actually you get to see his size. He definitely looked like he about 160. You know what I mean? He looked like he cut down on some weight, trying to stay into that calibration of not losing too much weight. He might even be about 155. He don't look like, you know what I mean? He don't look like he's as 170-ish as he was before. So, I mean, these are all good things. So that we seeing going forward. There's talks of Teal still with Brian Norman. All these things are coming ahead, man, and we're gonna see what's going on. Frank Martin, who does he fight at 140? These are all things I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm going through the links.
Okay, hold on. Conor Benn is now number 3 for Jaron IBF title. Is this fight next? No, this fight is next. I would like to see that fight. That'd be better than what's his name? Karajan?
Yeah, Sergey Lipinets is there. You go with that Eastern European. I'm telling you, man, this fight for Hitchenson's gonna be. I'm telling you, man. You guys gotta listen, guys. I'm telling you, bro. This is one of those. Stylistically speaking, man, this guy's 18. He got 3 losses though, but he got 13 knockouts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Great fight. I think good matchmaking right here. He negotiates for the fight in October, November. We'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying, pay attention to it. But yeah, guys, I want to appreciate you. Show you my appreciation for coming out. Guys, if you haven't hit the like buttons, please make sure you do that. If you're on here and you're not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And hit your alerts or your notifications so you're getting it whenever we
Too Rich don't got a reach.
Who?
Too Rich.
That's my bad. I need to hook him up right now.
I was just looking at it. I want to make sure there ain't 2 of them in the chat. That's why I was asking. I was like, I thought he had one, but that was under his other name, right?
Maybe, but he's gonna have one right now. Hold on. Damn, man, I hate when this does that. What it just did right now, that was ridiculous, man. They're all low on the kid. Boom, boom. For sure, man.
Word. Lance Meyer. Peace, bro.
Salute, Lance Meyer, man. Salute to everybody in the building, man. Thank you guys for showing up. We had a decent little night talking some boxing.
What's up, bro? Salute.
Yeah, the community's getting bigger. You know what I'm saying? Where the conversations are getting. I love the panels, the way it's coming together. We're in that stage. You know what I'm saying? We're in that building stage, but I think you guys know where to come find boxing talk. People are starting to realize it's not bubblegum over here. You know what I mean? So when you come over here, if you want to know about boxing, you want to share, you want to build, you don't want to get caught up in the hype in the game, I think you guys know where to be. You know what I mean? Right. That's a fact. Anything you want to close it out with?
No, man, I think we had a great show. I think we had some great content today, and we brought some no fanboy. Exactly. That's why I said I'm changing the name too, Rich. We're calling them the Casual Committee, bro. And then, you know what I mean? Keep it that way. So that way we know it ain't just one, it's a bunch of them. But we're going to call it the Casual Committee. We're going to not do that, man. We're going to keep it real. We're going to always talk boxing. We're going to always try to talk to and we'll welcome all the people up there that sit in the back, you know what I mean, and hide in the back. It's all good. Come up here, man. We respect all y'all. We like opinions. We like to have conversation. That's all it's about. So, you know what I mean? Don't be shy. Say hi. So let's keep it real. You know what I mean? And let's make the deal. so we can all do what we got to do in this boxing space, man, and make boxing great again, for real.
Ray Davis showing you that pimp talk. He had that pimp hand raised. Ray said, raise that pimp hand on you, know what I mean? Salute to all you guys, man. We will reconvene tomorrow. I know.
Second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. Ooh, yeah, why they wanna put me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down, yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't slow it down. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I see the flashing lights, make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up a foreign. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah, yeah. This that highlight for the few. You get to have it all, no need to choose. First, let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top. Yeah, I had to elevate, 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 elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, I had to elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go